Deliberate. Dogfish. Deliberating. Dogfish. I'm the dude.
Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, fight!
I like it. I like it.
There we are.
Had to add some cerebral Cerberus, the guardian of hell, since we are the deliberating demons of the pocket monsters or something.
Well, glad to see that everybody survived the weekend riots or weekend war or weekend. What the hell else happened this weekend? It was all bad.
Right.
The whole damn weekend.
Yeah, not a lot of riots in Marin County. We prefer to keep that on the other side of the bridge. Thank you very much.
What are people upset about? It's summer. Everyone's on vacation. We're having a good time.
What's a vacation?
Good question.
Well, they're mostly upset that their cheap labor could possibly be sent somewhere else.
That seems to be what a lot of the liberals are mad about. I keep hearing like very well off, very successful liberals being like, who's gonna be the nanny? Who's gonna clean the toilets? You know, like, hey, let's just lump an entire group of people together, make them the most fucking menial task-worthy peasants on the fucking planet, and then wonder why they're not our friends.
Yes. And then also pay them shit wages and think that you're above them. That's the good part, you know. A guy can handle menial labor, fine. I think Mexicans like it. They're certainly better at it. But to then demean them, that's rough stuff.
Yeah, dude. I don't know, man. I've known plenty of fucking cool ass fucking hard working, even harder joking blue collar fucking Mexican dudes.
Yeah.
They used to be Irish dudes and Italian dudes, and if you were lucky, you got a Polak or two on the crew to lift the heavy shit.
Yeah, people who just want work and they want jobs and they show up and do the thing and they go home.
Yeah.
All Polish jokes are the funniest.
Yeah.
I always laugh because I pronounce it Polish, and it just changes the meaning of everything.
Right. Well, if you want to remove some polish, nobody cares. If you wanted to remove the Polish, all of a sudden you're Hitler and you're evil.
Holodomor.
Pronunciation is
no
key.
side.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Israel and Iran finally decided to quit posturing, or like they have for the last basically my whole fucking life, and get down with it, huh?
Yeah, I had some documents talking about the whole plan going back like 20 years ago. Seems like every few years they were announcing that there was going to be something happening in Iran, and now I guess it finally happened. So it wasn't too much of a surprise.
They were months away from having nuclear capabilities for bombs fucking 20 years ago.
Right. But I got a question about that language. It's like nuking is like microwaving. Is that the same thing?
Kind of.
So when someone
Definitely
says they're
not.
gonna,
Oh, hey,
they're gonna
our guest is here.
oh yeah.
I don't know, Ben or Marcus, if either of you want to make a brief introduction.
Yeah, it's kind of a mystery guest. We'll we'll surprise Steve with our guest tonight. We got an email from Emily Moyer, friend of the pod, I think they say. She's been on our stream. We've been on hers. Got a recommendation of this gentleman. It's another Marcus. So
All right.
we shouldn't get too confused about who you're referring to.
How you doing? My name is Ben. This is my brother Marcus. This is my other brother Marcus.
Right.
Right. We had some confusion last week with Vibe. AM was AM Wake Up or AM Alan Marcus. I think we'll just continue the confusion tonight. All sorts of things out.
Awesome. Yeah.
And we'll see if he sounds.
Welcome to the show, Marcus.
Hey,
with the
thanks
K.
for having me.
I'm Marcus with the C.
I'm Marcus with a K.
We were just talking about how we were going to differentiate the two, but as a rule, our guest gets kind of the floor and can talk over us, and we'll just shut up. Excited to have some.
Please introduce yourself and tell us about your work and whatnot. Obviously, a friend of Emily's, a friend of ours. So let us know what you got going on.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. Pretty excited to be here. I've been following Emily for a while and following Ben and all you guys for a while. I've been checking out your guys' podcast or your shows on a weekly basis for the past couple of weeks. It's definitely interesting, and it makes you think, get your noodle cranking and stuff like that. So just a normal guy.
Are you a harmonics guy?
Something like that.
Okay. Trying to do a little Google foo to figure out what we could find out about you. Did you have a LinkedIn profile? Okay. All right.
Yeah, I tried to. I was making a YouTube channel about 6 months ago, and kind of wasn't really getting any traction. Didn't really know what I was doing, and thought I had an idea, and then decided I should probably think about it a little longer.
What sort of topics are you thinking about most of the time?
I'm pretty open to most things. I like different things about energy. I'm an electrician by trade, so I've been
journeyman?
doing that for certified journeyman.
Okay.
But I have my own company.
We respect the work. You still doing a lot of electrical engineering?
Engineering. I rewire houses, and I add outlets and add can lights and stuff like that. Yeah.
Good, honest work.
Yeah, engineers sit in their office and they imagine that things work a certain way.
Yeah, most of the stuff I do doesn't have a blueprint to it. It's kind of a design as you go. I know the rules, and kind of just integrate the existing with the new, and try to keep the load balanced and all that stuff.
How do you feel about those LED lights?
It's one of those things you want to balance with your circadian rhythm. I think in the evening times you probably want to go with a little bit something less daylightish, so your melatonin cranks in at 9-10 o'clock. You don't want to be busting out the blue lights too much late at night.
Solar panels, good or bad?
Solar panels. Yeah, that's something I never really dealt with. I live in Ohio, so we get a lot of clouds up here, and it's kind of gray weather. So for some people, they get them. I haven't really heard too many great stories about them. I think there's probably some better alternatives to solar, but they're making innovations all the time. So maybe it's getting there. I don't know. Probably in places like California, Arizona, stuff like that, maybe it makes more sense.
I see people buying into the solar panels, and I think it's just them wanting to renovate their home and have that, what do they call it for Zillow, the curb appeal, where they think the house looks better in appearance when they have solar panels in the house because they look like a more responsible, energy efficient citizen.
Yeah, there's some virtue signaling there. I mean, that's just not something I'm not into for the most part. they get tax abatements too. People call me about it and they've asked and like kind of like for recommendations if I think it's good or if I think it's bad. Generally, I say it's up to you. But the people I've talked to that actually have had it done, they're in their words, they said it's not worth it. So I'm taking their word for it because they get a payback from the power company or whatever, and it just doesn't equal out what they're putting into it, and it really does. It takes so long to get that investment back. It would be. I think solar panels are great for people who are off grid, stuff like that, where you're really I don't know. See, there you go. I'm just talking. I don't know if it's good or not.
It's Habsy fifth. Like there's some benefits to it, but overall the general like upkeep, maintenance, the power that you're actually getting from it, like battery banks and an indestructible generator are probably, honestly, like it might not be the environmentally friendly answer, but for what, especially if you're trying to run any kind of tools or run anything that has like an actual load to it, solar's great for passive. Anything that's passive, solar's awesome for. Ben, you can jump in too. You've been dealing with this shit for
I've got 48 300 watt panels, and they're the newer one. They're the top of the line ones that'll pick up energy even when there's cloud cover, the whole nine. And because my system's 48 volt, I have to have 8 batteries in parallel, and then I had three of them, 3 banks of 8, so I had 24 of these giant L16 batteries, and except for in the middle of summer, basically in Redding, which Redding is basically California is the face of the fucking sun. There's 3 months where it's over 110 all the damn time, and yeah, it's horrifying. That's why I moved to Humboldt. Like that shit's inhuman. I bought the house in the fall winter season. I should have checked it out during the summer season, but only during that time. Well, then the thing was, in the summer in Redding, you're getting overpowered. So I would run around and I had a series of things, like I would pump water. I would turn on, I had a big 240 volt AC, and because it would overfeed your system. And then all the rest of the time, it's underfeeding it. And come winter, you just don't even get enough light at all. And you're running off a generator. That's just all there is to it. And when you run off a generator with a lead acids, they're not really meant to be like with a lithium where you can fully deplete and then fully charge. The lead acids aren't meant to do that. They're supposed to stay at a pretty high voltage. They're at 14.4 is what they're at when they're sitting perfect. I think you're not supposed to drop below 12 at all, but you shouldn't be dropping below like 13.6. So you're not supposed to be using up that much of your bank all the time, or else you'll burn through those batteries right fucking now. And I understand I did the household wiring there for a few years. I was more of an industrial electrician. I did 2 years of it because you needed to get your journeyman's. But my favorite engineer story, it was when recessed can lights first came out. And they obviously didn't have a NEMA 3 can light. Yeah, they were made for basements. And so this fucking engineer drew up this nice awning on this fucking building that we were building. Had a nice awning. So it was a auditorium and all that. And on the top, going through the awning, was these can lights, but the awning didn't have a top. And we're like, rain's just going to go right into this, and they don't even make a NEMA 3 for this yet. And these are a new thing. This doesn't work. And we fought with that engineer for weeks about this. He did not at all get them. We're like, either you got to put a box around these Do something to cover them from the weather, or else you can't use these.
You can't explain anything to an engineer out in the field. They're in the, like you said, they're in their office. They're drawing it up. They think they can see everything just like it is, but it, get out into the field. It's a lot different than what it is in the office for sure.
Do you get into some of those home repairs or like flipping or anything?
Yeah, I've dealt with a ton of flippers, ton of real estate people. I work with custom builders. I usually like to work in the high-end houses and stuff like that. Take my time doing stuff right instead of just whamming it in there and just, I like to do something a little bit nicer.
Well, yeah, that way you can show up with your little electrician purse and have the drywall guy sweep up.
That's
I
right.
thought it was fun to find a rental
It's their
property.
job, isn't it?
Right?
Yeah,
I looked all through
you know?
the How to Be an Electrician manual. It didn't say nothing about a broom. Didn't
Nothing
say
about
nothing.
picking up garbage.
Removing the cockroaches from the walls before you paint over them with white paint.
Mm-hmm.
Right? These are brand new Timberlands. They're not Red Wings or anything. I'm not here to. Come on. We get these dirty.
Well, I understand the high-end homes and the beautiful homes and
We're
where
the
the money
smart guys
is.
on the job, not the labor guys.
Yeah.
All right? Right? It takes the big brains to figure out how to string spaghetti. It does.
Do you do any like networking as well? Putting in like Cat 5 Ethernet cables?
Nah, not so much. I kind of stay in my lane. I don't really mess around with that low voltage stuff too much. Yeah, those guys get made fun of quite a bit. At least in the apprenticeship school that we was in, they didn't get too much respect.
What about home theaters? Are you installing home theaters in people's homes? Getting all the seats prepared? The
No.
high-end audio systems?
I run a one-man crew. This is just me. I don't have guys working for me and all that. Now there's plenty of money in that and stuff, but it's a lot of upfront costs with the materials and stuff like that, and I don't carry that type of overhead with me. So
I'm just thinking of the curb appeal and everyone's houses are kind of showing up on Zillow.com and everyone's comparing to everyone else's homes. And I've noticed this strange trend of these Chinese solar panel LED light decorations for gardens.
That lasts like 4 months.
Right. And they look absolutely cheap. And then everyone is putting them in their yards. And then at night, I'm walking down the street where it used to be dark just a few years ago. Now it's all these flashing blue light LED things. And I'm like, who is this for? Everyone in the house is asleep. The gnomes in the garden are annoyed. The rabbit doesn't care. Why do they have all these lights on all night long?
yeah. People do crazy stuff. I don't know. I have lights on in my house every night. So, but then again, like, the permanent holiday lights. I don't know if you've seen those or anything like that. Yeah, we run those, but that's something I've only had in the past year. And it's kind of, for me, when I put in something like that in my house, then I can install it at somebody else's house. So if somebody sees my house, they want it done at their house and they like it, and they don't have to put up Christmas lights up and down and buy 1,000 different strands of Christmas lights, or, for whatever season it is, St. Patrick's Day or Halloween or 4th of July or whatever. It's kind of nice to have that option to just choose something, put it on the setting. For me, I don't like putting up Christmas lights and taking them down, or anything like that. If I can do something permanently and get it done, yeah, we just do that.
And to answer your question, Anna, Marcus, in his spare time, he bids on storage containers, just random storage containers. And he got a hold of one in Burbank that had the entire wardrobe of the show Saved by the Bell. And so piece by piece, the wardrobe in its entirety from the show Saved by the Bell is being sent to Marcus's house.
Yep.
And he is going to be modeling the Screech collection.
His name's
for
Dustin.
the months of June and July.
He's a real person.
Yeah.
He's not just the actor.
We're all looking forward to his arc when he does Slater's wrestling singlets. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun.
Well, it's
Looking
the
forward
Jesse
to that.
Spano thing where I have a shot of green tea, and then I just say I'm so excited a couple times until I crash out.
Right.
Energy. We're talking energy
We
tonight.
should do the
two
spandex
shots.
ones around the time we auction Marcus off.
Yes.
glad I could help straighten that out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the sex appeal, like he was saying, the curb appeal. You gotta marketing.
Right.
You
Right.
give them a little peek of the goods.
Yeah. No, rednecks and black t-shirts aren't cutting it. We had to fancy up Marcus for
Yeah.
show this time. Yeah.
I'm doing my best to market myself, doing my best to market this very program here. We're trying to figure out who the audience is and how to keep
What are you
marketing,
doing up over there, numbnuts?
hitting that algorithm. You're talking
Right.
home decoration lights. Are people wanting to put in more outlets
So,
that face the outdoors?
so you think this is going to cause more issues, like when LA lost power, that people called 911 on the fucking Milky Way? Like, they called 911 on the Milky Way. A lot of them. Because
Yeah.
they didn't know what the hell was going on in the sky because there's so much ambient light constantly that you can't see that kind of thing. Like
Sure.
where I live, it is pitch ass black as soon as the sun goes down. We shut that generator off. That's the end of it. You now, granted, when there's a full moon, you can walk around basically without a flashlight even. But Bubba,
Yeah,
I did
that-
not give him any piss and vinegar. I don't know how he's so full of it.
Did you give him honey? Something sweet?
Has he been around you while you're talking to yourself? It might have been like osmosis, piss and vinegar.
Yeah,
May have.
yeah, for sure. He's under my butt all the time.
Yeah.
And
Been
stay
near
warm.
you when you've been talking about the Jews at all? 'Cause that could maybe that.
I've been good this week, though.
I've been good this week.
Yeah, I'm feeling a little disgruntled. I'm feeling like they're pushing me into it at this point. Like, now you fuckers want it?
The
No.
last year or two has been kind of a exercise in how anti-Semitic can we turn otherwise ambivalent people.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they've gotten it to where you almost have to dislike them at this point. Like, and I'm going, no, I'm not jumping in on something. You guys want this on purpose.
Is there a category of people that are,
Every-
actually neutrally Semitic, like neutral towards Semitic people, or neutral in their Semitism?
What, in that they like Arabs too,
Yeah.
or because they're the
Mhm.
Shemites? I don't know. Maybe with the people who go to, like, what is it? Is it Pete's Coffee? I can't remember. There's a coffee company.
Sure.
Phil's. It's Phil's. That's like Palestinian owned, and I know that they were getting like boycotted in Cupertino and a couple of other like Tech Bro Bay Area places just because the owner of the place was like the one Jew in or the one guy in California who wasn't a Jew who owned a coffee shop. And they're
Right.
like, no, you have a successful chain. We can't have that. Boo.
As a Three Stooges fan, I was a pretty big Shemite for a while. Shem being one of the Stooges.
Oh, Shemp,
Okay.
Nobody likes Shemp.
right? Certainly not the rest of the Stooges. You ever seen one of those shows? They were downright violent.
Like Curly?
Yeah.
Nyek, nyek,
Curly was the shit. We all know this. This isn't even a debate point.
Okay, so if we make it a debate, to what level of Semitism did the Three Stooges represent themselves? Were they themselves the brothers? Their sister?
They were all men.
They're all out of Hollywood.
Jewish faith. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
They were in Hollywood, right?
Well, and now I have to sit with that for a while. and reconsider if their comedy was more or less funny, knowing what kind of bread they ate Friday night or Saturday night.
Right. You got the challah back girls.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
That deserved more laughs. It really did.
Okay, there's a
God
lot.
damn it. Hang on. I have something for this. Where'd it go?
I don't hear the Rumble chat, but I'm sure they're rumbling with laughter.
This one? Yeah, there we go. I'll
There's
try.
the
I'll try
okay.
harder next time. Yeah.
Soundboard ready.
Yeah.
All right.
I didn't even know you had a soundboard.
No, I've got a couple of things uploaded to StreamYard, and this one, the one for AM Wake Up, is a little bit more built out.
Okay. It is summertime. I think we can have a little bit more fun. School's out for summer.
That's what Alice Cooper said.
He was a Christian. I think he still is a Christian. I know he's a golf fan.
He does that. He does that thing where he does soup kitchens and stuff. I know that.
Cooper Soup. Welcome to my dish of stew.
It's shocking how kind he is. That's his shock rock act. Kindness.
I mean, dude, if you grew up and your name was Alice, you know, you'd probably wind up being all right to the people who were all right to you. And you'd probably have empathy for people that you hadn't met who didn't make fun of you for being named Alice. So I can see that. I can.
By virtue of it was my favorite 8-track of the 8 tracks I had available. Alice Cooper was, I liked him a lot when I was young, but I had a limited selection of 8 tracks. And that was one of the, that came with my truck. And that was the best one of the group.
I liked him because I saw when I was a kid the Muppet Halloween show where it was Alice Cooper and they opened with Welcome to My Nightmare and he got a phone call from Uncle Satan. It was just freaking hysterical. The Jim Henson's Creature Shop like custom made all of the Muppets for the Alice Cooper episode.
Wow.
We used to be a proper country with
We used
culture.
to be a proper country.
Yeah, and entertainment. That was fun.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Johnny Cash sang Dirty Old Egg Sucking Dog to Rolf the dog, who was very offended by it. Yeah,
That's entertainment.
it is, man. Big Confederate flag in the background too.
Who's your favorite? Who's your favorite Muppet? Marcus with a K.
Probably Animal.
On the drums.
Solid
Yeah.
choice. Solid choice.
Do you have any favorite Christian bands you want to tell me about?
I knew it was coming.
This is Marcus's only question on his Grinder app.
It's true.
Striker, right? No.
See,
I
everybody
love
says
a guy.
Striper, dude. Everybody
I love a
says
guy.
Striper.
Wait. I heard Striker with a K.
Oh, okay.
Did you say
I
Striker
only
with a
heard
K?
what I wanted to
See,
hear.
that's
because
even
that way I
better.
was right.
That's even cooler to me. Because it's like, you know.
I said like POD or some shit. I was like, I was struggling. I didn't even know Striper was the thing or whatever. I've been taught, but he's also taught me like about fucking pootie pies and shit like that. So it's all very questionable.
Right.
Yeah,
Booty
I
Pie.
think their like reputation precedes them. I've never really heard their songs, so I'm assuming they're great. That there's just this thing about Striker.
Yeah, they were just kind of doing the glam rock thing, wearing the tight clothes, shocking.
Leopard print spandex for the Lord.
Yes.
Spandex bodysuits, son.
Yes.
My dude was out there like J-Lo.
Right. I'm just waiting for someone to say DC Talk.
No one's ever gonna say that. They were terrible.
And these are generational differences. We're just learning where we came from and where we are in the timeline of events. I think I'm probably the youngest on the panel, but I'm not an ageist. Trying to figure out where, there's 4 of us and maybe the chat.
You're the only one who isn't visibly gray. To fucking-
No, come on.
Don't let that pull you out there in audience land.
I've got a few. I've got a few.
That's funny. Yes, David Bowie did wear spandex better, but he was kind of born into that role. Chrissy.
Right.
Yeah. If there was ever a dude made to wear spandex who had both of his balls and wasn't Lance Armstrong, probably David Bowie. Probably for different reasons. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Do we argue that Elvis Presley, he sang some gospel music. Does that make him a Christian artist?
Well, I mean, he grew up in, singing in the church there in Tupelo, right?
Well, you could say Kid Rock.
Yeah.
You could
I
say
think
that.
Kid
I
Rock
don't know if
went
I would
from-
have
I'm
done
with
that.
the Great White Pope. Next week we'll have a Viking chant. I don't listen to any of this Christian nonsense.
I think Kid Rock went from like being in the church to being a white DJ, white hip hop DJ, to the rap rock shit. And then there was that hilarious arc where he was like trying to do country and had that song with Sheryl Crow. And
I
then
thought if you were a white rapper, you were supposed to have a podcast afterwards.
no, he went straight to owning nightclubs and selling Bud Light, and then shooting Bud Light, and then selling Bud Light again.
Okay, so did Kid Rock pave the way for Jelly Roll to roll?
Maybe in that particular way, yeah, because Jelly Roll went from rap to country, and now he's doing whatever the fuck he's doing, having a face tattoo contest with Post Malone, or I don't know, I don't really keep up.
Country. It pisses me off. That's bar music. That's not country.
It's not even, yeah.
It's bar music. It's not even rock. It's not country. It's drunk people bar music.
Okay, so there's a difference between bar music and saloon music?
Is that like honky tonk?
It could be. And
No, I think you need a piano with honky tonk. I think
What's
that's
hap-
a requirement.
What's happened with Nashville lately?
Lately?
I don't know. We tried to
20
go
years
there, and the forces of nature said no.
Well,
We
I
were
wanted to go to
supposed meet
Nashville.
Marcus and we were supposed to meet Marcus in Nashville and hang out and check Nashville out, and the road literally disappeared. There was no more road for a very long way.
We were going to meet in Nashville and then find the Billy Graham Museum and then
That
pilgrimage
was
over there.
not what was on the agenda.
That was on my agenda.
Marcus
way
was
back.
going to go into the Billy Graham Museum by himself.
Well, I wanted to show you the Ark encounter as well with the giant Noah's Ark.
I would go in the Ark encounter. That sounds fucking hilarious.
Okay. We
Doesn't
get
it have
tickets for it, yeah.
dinosaurs in it?
Yeah.
Yes.
But Dad, I wanted the full tour. I wanted to ride the dinosaurs.
So you're from Ohio, right? Is that what I heard you say? Is there a
Yep.
rock and roll museum in Cleveland?
Yeah, I haven't been there, but it's up there.
Okay.
What part of Ohio are you in? I don't have to go into specifics or anything, but
Central Ohio, Columbus.
okay. I grew up in Central Indiana.
So you know Reliant K then?
What?
The Christian punk rock pop group Reliant, named after a car, Reliant K.
Nope.
They formed in about 1999 out of Columbus, Ohio. Okay.
Not big on keeping up with the Christian bands in particularly.
No one is. I went to Bible college, and not even the people at my Bible college even knew what Christian music was. So.
Yeah, the type of Christian music that I was around was more just like the Gaithers or something like that. I went to a Baptist church when I was younger. I went to a Christian school for 2 years and 7th and 8th grade.
Okay.
You see, it always comes back to the Gaithers. They were the town that I grew up in was like right next to where their recording studio was and shit like that, and I've like known them my whole life kind of thing. Well, up until I was like 18, But yeah, growing up, I knew all the Gaithers pretty well. Weird. I would love to have access to their recording studio. That thing was awesome.
Yeah,
If they have such nice recording stuff, why is Christian like movies suck so bad all the time?
Because they're marketed to a very, very, very specific audience. It's like they're already pigeonholed before it even gets off the ground. And then they've got to tailor the content to make it like the most non-offensive and neutral for any of the varying, degrees of opinion within that niche market. So it makes for like a very specifically targeted, very watered down version of something that's already like geared for Ned Flanders.
He would have brought some devil's lettuce.
Speaking of
jazz cabbage.
The jazz cabbage. That shit was hilarious. So is this all Israel bombing itself, or is it on? Is it actually finally on? And the Middle East is going to just nuke itself into one big sheet of glass?
I think Tehran is not going to exist anymore at all.
Well,
Beyond
how
that,
else
I don't know.
pay for the third temple without some sacrifice?
Sure.
Right? Has anyone checked in on the red heifers?
Well,
Do we know if they're okay?
the Chrislam, the Christian Islam Alliance, they have the peace treaty that Trump had brought his family over to arrange. So they were already talking about building a facility where it's just like the three monotheistic religions just hanging out and having a real beautiful like crystal cathedral mosque temple scenario.
Oh, like a Freemason temple.
But I said crystal and you're talking bricks.
The three monotheistic religions.
Oh, okay. Could be. Yeah, it could be. But I was hoping for the Great White Space Brotherhood, or the Great Greys, or the Blues, or the Avians.
The Great White Brotherhood?
Well, the people from space, the intelligent entities from outer space were going to come, and there was going to be a Blue Beam project, and Will Smith was going to do another rap album. He did do another rap album.
No, we played
Independence Day 3
that yesterday. That's an abomination. Will Smith should be cut off.
Was he singing about women being beautiful?
He wasn't even singing about women being beautiful. It's the song is I like pretty girls. My dude's 56 years old. His grown teenage son is a girl. Like, I'm not sure. Like, just take his mic away. Dude, you should maybe give the audience something they've never seen before. Will Smith, instead of being a hack rapper, like do a whole tour where you just do fucking like Motown shit, something like that. Do like a Will Smith sings the Drifters. That'll fucking surprise some people. Don't try to rap anymore. It's just terrible.
Just do the Wild Wild West theme song, do the We Are the Men in Blacks theme song, and a medley at the end of the concert. Sell a couple tickets.
Cover MC Hammer's song from the Addams Family. Do that, maybe.
We can all be thankful that he did Wild Wild West or whatever that Wild West movie was instead of The Matrix. He would have ruined that.
That's fair. That's fair.
So we got West.
The multi-emotional dimensional acting range of Keanu Reeves.
Whoa. Whoa.
I know Kung Fu.
Gotta bring it down. Whoa.
Whoa.
So Wild Wild West was kind of an alternate history of like using steam technology. You probably wouldn't have a job today, Marcus, if the Wild Wild West was the real past and present and future with steam technology.
Yeah, it probably just would have never happened, you know.
Should become a steam. I don't know what you call it. A guy who puts wood into a furnace and then makes steam happen. An
Yeah.
engineer.
A shovel monkey.
Shovel monkey.
I mean, 'cause-
Who's the guy that makes the train go choo choo?
Conductor?
Conductor. Okay.
Right.
Orchestra? No.
No.
Train set.
I gotta run the dog out, fellas. I'll be back in a few.
Meaty dog.
I don't know any of those.
Just sing the Baja Men song first. Who let the dogs out? Steve did. Just now.
You know it's about ugly. You know it's about ugly chicks at the club, right?
Okay.
The two dudes that were DJs there, if they ever spotted ugly chicks on the dance floor, that's what they'd play.
Nice.
Unattractive women are considered dogs. Language is so fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, now I'm gone.
I like dogs.
Did you get some weird word stuff at all?
For me?
Yeah, harmonics, words, lyrics,
Yeah.
music, songs.
Yeah, you notice certain patterns, and you find out that the language is just full of spells or whatever, you know. Yeah, you come into the world and you just it's just a big game, or it's a big puzzle, and you just try to make sense of it all. And yet, for me, my sister, she's deaf. So for me, a lot of my first language is nonverbal, and then so I pick up on body language and things like that initially, just by listening to her, or not listening to her, but watching her and how she interacts with the world. And she would always talk about the vibrations. She could feel the vibrations, and so that's one of the things that really got me interested into, say, like harmonics or vibrations, or different frequencies and things like that. And
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Yeah, that's so. And then just being around electricity, then you start to understand the different sine wave and the frequency with that, and so it's just kind of a natural fit for like harmonics or something like that. You want a balanced system, and so for me, I'd named my channel The Highest Harmonic, which didn't really mean going to the highest frequency, but more or less having the highest balanced frequency, I guess you could say, or kind of like a homeostasis in a way, just balance, but also at a high level, and just trying to understand things at a high level, but still stay balanced.
Very good. Have you seen Santos? Now, this is before Santos went off his nut, but he used to back in the day have this percussive series where he had dug through a bunch of different languages and found where certain percussive sounds would be in the same words with the same meaning across different languages and things like that. And he thought he was trying to get at the root of words with that, which was pretty fascinating.
Yeah, I've heard of Santos Bonacci, and he kind of went off a little bit on cell salts and things like that, and he was trying to get to he had some insight. I think he had a lot of insight on some things. But then the study of language is fascinating. It definitely shows you, if you can trace it back and everything, to the root of different languages and cultures, and it's definitely fascinating to see that and the similarities between this culture and that culture based on the languages and things like that. Yeah. But I don't know so much about the percussion. I didn't really get into that topic so much. So to answer your question more directly.
He's the only person I've seen really talk about that. And yeah, I mean, obviously, you know, his stuff for the last 6-7 years has been pretty nutty, but I mean, he's definitely got great stuff interwoven in there when he's not looking like fucking he's held the One Ring for too long and trying to sell light patches and shit. You know?
Right. I think you can take anything to an extreme. So.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I don't know what happened to that guy. Something not good.
Too many percussive sounds were heard.
Well, and I've often wondered if it's a 2-part thing, because then the language of the birds. The one time I was going through this field, and there was a whole bunch of of quail around, and my dog, and they were fine with me, but my dog came running up, and whatever noise they were making, it literally, I could like feel it in my chest and inside me, and the only thing I caught from it was danger. And it was like, you know, but it wasn't like the word danger, but I wanted to fucking run away. Like, you know, it made me want to run away. And it was a really interesting experience. But that was a higher pitch rather than a percussive, which was super interesting. And I've always wondered if the two each have one component each.
Been listening to a lot of birds in the backyard, putting out food and feeding them and sitting still with some binoculars.
It's a light patch is what he was calling it. And he goes on, the guy looks like he's got cancer at this point, and he puts it on his arm and he says it only lets in the light and it's supposed to heal you and all this. But the dude looks like he lost a battle to cancer and doesn't realize it yet. And he's mentally completely gone at this point. But yeah, he's calling it the light patch, and he started selling it after he went around and got a bunch of donations for that brick and mortar school. And then instead of doing a brick and mortar school, just threw up a bunch of podcasts, and you had to pay a bunch of money to watch podcasts. Like, oh my God.
Rick and Morty, brick and mortar.
Rick and Mortar.
Rick and Mortar. Like the physical world. Interesting. Those birds do have their danger sounds, and when, you know, it's like June 17th now, so the nesting is kind of over. Putting out bird homes for nesting in the fall, so that when the birds return in the spring, they begin to find their places. They'll get in there as soon as they return north up towards Minnesota and probably Ohio area. And the birds show up and they start laying the eggs. And then you'll hear the sound of the mother when you're too close to the nest. She'll try to get your attention away from where the nest is and just go absolutely insane with weird chirps and calls and attention-seeking behavior. It's like, come over here, look over here, but not over there. You're too close to the nest.
A lot of times that's an injured sound that they're making. They're pretending like they're injured, so that way the predator takes them as easy prey.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've even seen them act like they're injured and whatnot, and then they'll run off.
Yeah, I've seen that in birds that nest in the ground.
Yeah,
they'll especially. Yeah, quail. Is that a presidential candidate?
Yeah, Dan Quayle.
Dan Quayle. Yeah. They
got
good vibrations
on top of their head. They're kind of hilarious.
You talked about good vibrations. I don't know if we want to mention the Beach Boys at all.
Not in particular.
Okay. Just thought I'd give you the opportunity to say something. Pay your respects.
That they were big advocates for Charles Manson.
I don't know.
He used to
Can't
hang
say
out
either
with
way. What, like Brian Wilson, and did he write the song "Good Vibrations"? The guy was kind of a musical
I'm not
genius.
that fucking old.
You live in California, though.
I'm not from here.
You drink the same water he probably drank.
I do not.
You drink Brian Wilson's water, and you know it.
I do not. My mountain gurgles up water. It was called Water Mountain by the natives. He drinks recycled pee.
Sure, okay.
That's what they drink down there.
I'm just in this goofy kind of summer mood, thinking like tiki, Polynesian music, the grass skirts and the coconut bras and the tiki bars and the little ukuleles, kind of this Hawaiian thing. There was a time in Americana culture where like the man cave was like in the basement and it was like a tiki bar. Or was this on television? No, like all the television shows, like the height of masculinity was having a tiki bar in the basement and pretending that you were from Hawaii and putting those little umbrellas.
Is this about Jim Bob?
He did get a trip to Hawaii, and then he did not debate us. So
Where's a lot of Hawaiian shirts?
There's a little bit of resentment there, and I'm trying to inch my way into the silly shirt wearing club, thinking maybe I'd get a little bit more acceptance. But it's only been...
You're not turtly enough for the Turtle Club?
I've only worn the shirt for about an hour now, so I don't know if the algorithm...
Does it still smell like Screech?
What does he smell like? Pocket protector and sharpened number 2 pencils?
I don't know. I thought maybe you would know.
No. I'm a computer wizard, but the cool kind. I think it's cool to be a nerd now, especially with, TikTok, and anybody who can edit a video and put it on TikTok now is considered to be awesome. Like when I was 12 or 13, the coolest thing was still video editing, but that was many, many years ago. So this stuff was out of my hands. It was like expensive stuff. We're talking about the Gaithers in the recording studio. Wow, like Brian Wilson, the Beach Boys, the Wrecking Crew, the stuff that they had to record their music, incredible technology. Now it's like anybody with an iPhone or even an Android can record a Fruity Loops and mumble rap over it and put a song on SoundCloud and pay for advertisements on Instagram and sell cassette tapes and tour the world.
But it definitely has a different quality. Like Crow, Jason's got all kinds of crazy sound equipment, and that's why their show always sounds so real smooth and good. Like they're doing like triple recordings, and he records from like 3 different sources and then splices it all together and takes out anything that he doesn't like, and it's all super smooth. That's all Jason. And his sound room looks like the Starship Enterprise or something like that. It buzzes.
Right. Well, that's all the hardware stuff.
Hornet's nest, though, I tell you that. I can living out in the country off of like right now we got like a 3K generator, which basically wouldn't run most people's living rooms. And I walk into people's houses and it's like, boo, like, jeez.
Yeah, Marcus, do you feel that vibration walking into some of these homes? Like, that's dirty electricity. You kind of find a problem there. Like, oh, that outlet's polarization, the polarity's reversed on that. It's not grounded.
Yeah, you can hear it with different compressors and things like that when they kick on, or different heavy loads. You'll see some flickering lights and whatnot, either some like loose connections or unbalanced loads. So a lot of the stuff I do is troubleshooting. They got outlets ain't working, and go in and just try to figure out what the problem is as quickly as possible. It's good when you get the lights back on. That's the key. Getting the lights back on, people are usually happy.
Yeah, it gives us a God complex.
Make sure the lights are working. Make sure that the Netflix is streaming to the big screen TV and air condition. Is that another thing you help out with?
Yeah, just the electrical side.
Yep, just the electrical side.
Yeah, AC guys do all the other crap.
The power to run the air condition is the question. Some of these older homes weren't designed to carry the load for ACs, and then people want to put an air conditioned window unit in every bedroom. Maybe there's 3 bedrooms, and now you're carrying all these AC loads.
Yeah, I mean, air conditioning is one of those things we can live without. We did for a long time. There's fans. I got a whole house fan. If I chose not to use my air conditioner, I could just kick on a whole house fan in the evening, open up a couple windows, and it gets chilly pretty quickly. And if you're not inside the house most of the day and you're out doing things, and that you don't really need too much air conditioning really going on for real. I use one of those thermostats that kind of regulates all of it to where when we're here, when we're not here, try to lighten the load as much as possible.
Is there a great demand for the so-called smart thermostats where you can control it? You're not even in your home, but you get a notification on your phone to say your house is now at 71 degrees. Is that too warm for you? Do you want to bring it down to 69 degrees?
Yeah, I think there's a demand for them, but at the same time, if you're not at home, like it's you can program all this stuff with all this smart technology. I really wasn't too hip on it for a long time, so it's just one of those things that innovation's great, and it can make your life more comfortable, but at the same time, you shouldn't get too dependent upon things like this either. It's just one of those creature comforts.
Yeah, and it's sort of like the upgrade of the house too. Where do you go from here? You've got everything you need, but do you have a smart meter? Do you have a smart washer and dryer? So you get a text message to your phone when your towels are done out of the dryer?
I don't have a smart dryer. My wife's got a smart oven. She likes being able to put something in the oven, and then if she's not at home, start cooking it or monitor it. I don't know how to use the damn thing.
Okay, so you can't end a phone call early because you said, I forgot there's something in the oven. The phone will just say, hey, there's something in the oven. Do you want it to turn off now?
There's a lot of automation that happens in the new houses and stuff like that. Everything from your doorbells to your thermostats to your ovens, dryers, washer. I'm sure that just about anything they can upgrade with a little bit of smart technology, they're doing it. Your refrigerator probably order some food at some point for you, have it delivered to you through your drone, and it's just one of those things. If people are willing to pay for it, if it saves them some time or it gives them some convenience, people will go for it. But at the same time, it's like I didn't grow up with stuff like that, so it's good. For like vacuuming and stuff like that, they got the robots that clean the floors and everything. I mean, it is what it is. People can do anything they want. We got one in our house. And I got one for my wife for
floor vacuuming robot.
Yeah, it vacuums and mops. So
you know what? I just leave my floor wood. I've got animals everywhere, and fucking if my house wasn't up on fucking stilts, I'd just fucking make it a dirt floor. I wouldn't give a shit, and I don't have to worry about it.
I get it, man. I work in the construction. I come home dirty every day. I work in plaster and lath, up in attics and the whole bit, crawl spaces. There's not one day I don't come home I'm not freaking filthy. And you know what? The house, I like that personally. When I get home though, I like to have a clean house. That's just me. I didn't, my mom grew up. She was a stay-at-home mom, and we always kept a pretty clean house. We didn't really live out in the country. We were suburbia. And just like I said, just normal. We didn't have a big farm. We grew up with pretty much nothing. So whatever we did have, we had to try to keep it as nice as we could and make it presentable. And I think people are going to do what they want to do. I totally support anybody that wants to clean their house any way they want to. It's not something I'm really on my radar.
That poor little robot would die in the first day at my house. It would go on strike or it would die, one or the other.
Honestly, it's a lot of work to set it up to just get the thing to work, because you got to move everything and put stuff up and move stuff and then try to get it all. It's just as much work to get the thing. If you really wanted to do a good job, it's almost just as much work that you might as well just do yourself.
Yeah, I'm more of a Luddite myself for the most part.
I can understand being a Luddite, those smart vacuums that operate by mapping out your floor space. Well, all that data is that in a cloud somewhere on someone else's server. So now the floor plan of your house, where people are walking the most and leaving the most dirt and foot traffic, is now data available for someone to buy and sell in the black market. It's like there's a privacy concern. I don't know if you heard about politicians in Minnesota in the last few days.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing that happened over the weekend.
Yeah.
Not
Well,
even ones that we all dislike.
Sure. And it's sort of like breaking news. So I'm like, well, let's wait till the news is not broken anymore and someone fixes it and then they report on what actually happened. Early reports were saying that some gentleman went on the dark market or dark web or something and purchased information as to where certain politicians lived, had a list of their home addresses, maybe they had multiple homes, and then went and visited them.
And unalived them.
It was sort of a Grim Reaper situation, I think, is what happened. So we'll wait for somebody to write the book on
It
that.
was some ex-employee at Tim Waltz's, and
Okay. But this is speaking to privacy, right?
might be his wife. Yeah,
It's like there's a lot of reasons why people don't want to have their home on Zillow. They don't want to have their floor plans from the Roomba vacuum cleaner on the open web for people to understand. And
Go
then, like,
on
the
Google
security-
Maps.
Right, the
Put
Ring
out that
doorbells.
layout.
Yeah, and like Amazon employees who drive the little Amazon delivery truck have access to your home because they can unlock it to put packages in your porch. This type of
What?
thing. Yeah, haven't you heard this one?
No,
Right. So there's this
People
desire
steal
for people
packages
to
and stuff like that. So
yeah,
Right, porch pirates. I've heard of porch pirates. I get that.
right.
yeah,
So there's this
if you got a
permission
camera
system.
inside your garage or something like that, and then you could totally watch whatever's going on, and then it's a thing where they can do that.
Well, the technology is like the guy walks up with the package, NFC code says, "Hey, there's a delivery truck in your driveway. The guy's approaching your door. It'll automatically unlock the door. The light will flash, and then the door just opens up, and they put the package on the floor, and then the door closes and locks itself."
And how long before somebody just running around with an app? No, this is mine.
Yesterday, I mean, it's already happened where people have impersonated credentials of a police officer or an Amazon delivery or pizza guy, and the guy's delivering the pizza, but no, he's there because he wants your wife and she wants the Polish sausage and the pizza, and then they play the music and
Spicy pizza.
then the VHS tape starts getting a little bit skitterish, and the tracking needs to be adjusted because people kept rewinding for that section of the tape. Played over and over again. That's
Basic Instinct.
I'm talking about analog tapes, and they would degrade over time.
Are you saying your VHS collection is starting to degrade?
My VHS tape is hermetically sealed in a place to prevent it from access to moisture and mold.
That's good thinking.
I'm an archivist in that respect, saving important tapes like Newsboys under the big top. It's just sort of a fun thing where they pretend to be in a circus. They play all their music videos and they kind of act out little sketches between the music videos. Star Song 1998. I think it's about 90 minutes. Classic.
Yeah, the privacy thing is a big deal. I think convenience, that's a good topic to talk about, is and to understand a little bit fuller for every person. Privacy should be on top of everybody's, priority list, because that is definitely something that, not, in the wrong hands, it's dangerous. And in a good society, in a perfect society, things like this, I don't think should matter so much, because you could trust everybody and things like that. But we all know that people aren't perfect, so it's definitely something that we should look at.
It's funny because our great, at least my parents and grandparents' generation, they were all about privacy, all about it. Like, they were always worried about the government spying on them. And now the government's like, yeah, we spy on you. And people are like, oh, do you want me to put a receiver in every room? Should I carry one on my person, like 2 or 3?
Exactly.
Putting Dog the Bounty Hunter out of business. You don't have to search very far when someone updates their TikTok account and saying, hey, your cows are on my property and I'm complaining about it. I'm calling the cops and I'm live streaming the whole thing. Don't you have some interesting neighbors over there up in the mountains?
I do, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was the alpacas he called the cops on me for.
So you're on private property.
Yeah,
outside of city limits.
Yeah, he complained because they were on the road, but that's kind of a lie, because there is no actual roads around here. Roads are owned by the county. That's an egress.
Okay.
And so an egress is private property that you let somebody else needs to be able to access their property so they can pass through your property. I was like, the fucking sheriff didn't they sent out some dumbass young kid. And he all threatened to write us up and everything. So then I called the sheriff and I'm like, what exact law am I going to get written up for here for my alpacas being on my land? Please do let me know that. Like, you need to go have a talk with your deputy.
Do you need to put body cams on your alpacas?
That would be hilarious. Today I was down at the other place working and I hear some big rustling outside. And I look out there and there's the cows, like, just roaming all around, eating up stuff. Like, they do get around, and they're curious critters.
The rustling was my Haribo Harry Potter gummies.
Does Ricola allow you to do that?
Yeah, a gummy candy is a separate category from a throat lozenge, so there's no non-compete competition happening there. It's pretty good. People like the Haribos, kind of a different flavor, for your mouth. These are the limited edition Harry Potter versions. I don't know if you guys see these. Pretty cool, huh? Kids love Harry Potter. I don't understand it. Coca-Cola flavor. Do you like the black licorice flavor? Lemon sorbet. All the different flavors. And you're talking about an egress, and I was like, is that a name of a bird? But I think the bird is an egret. Do you have egrets on your birds? On your roads?
No, they don't. There's no egrets on them. The one alpaca, though, I had to rescue shear it. I go around and get rescue shearing some. Because back in the day, they sold alpacas to all the old people, and they're like, get alpacas. It's your lifetime. It's your investment for your retirement. And didn't ever mention that you have to take care of the fucking things. They just made out like you just have these alpacas and you somehow just get money. I don't know if they think they walk around pooping money or what.
They grow kind of large too, don't they?
Not really.
A lot of space.
Not really. It's just a lot of hair. Like, underneath there, that animal's only like 160 pounds. Like, a really large alpha alpaca is only like 170 or 180 pounds. They're like a sheep with a long neck.
Can you make socks from the alpaca hairs?
Oh God, yeah. It's the best sock ever.
Is it like a wool?
It's they consider it a hair.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's very interesting. It's a breathable hair. So it opens up when it gets hot and then it lets air through and then it closes up when it's cold. It's a super interesting hair.
We had a comment about nanotechnology and nano being a very, very small measurement, like nanometers. I was getting into fibers, and then someone brought up Morgellons. Morgellons being a strange fiber. You remember Morgellons? Did we ever solve the mystery of the Morgellons? The strange fibers that people were pulling out of their epidermises, or under their skin. They were pulling out these strange fibers. They're like, that's nanotechnology.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I know what you're talking about, but I didn't follow that rabbit hole too deeply. I usually, if it's not affecting me, I mean, I don't understand it. Like, it could be a psyop. It could be, it could be so many different things. Like, I'm not there. I'm not looking at it. It's not, it's not happened to anybody that I know. Every person that it seemed like it affected seemed like it was pretty kind of out there. I didn't really follow that too much. What do you guys think about it?
It was like a spider silk like thing, and it was like maybe they were using CRISPRs to change the DNAs of humans to produce a really fine silk. And then I was like, maybe it's just Spider-Man fans really into Spider-Man and manifesting kind of the Spider-Man web slinging thing. But more certainly, there was something, and the body was producing some kind of a strange fiber. But maybe it was just people were growing hair and realizing that mammals grow hair.
Wasn't it moving around and stuff like that?
Maybe if someone was blowing on it, I don't know if it was a living thing, like a nanobot or machine. I don't know.
The thing I've seen most is where they take and ferment water. And then they show all these organisms in the rainwater and whatnot.
Nematodes.
That's always been a thing.
Nematodes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's always been a thing. That's perfectly natural. That was something that was going on 100 years ago. So, yeah, it's not a rabbit hole I've ever really. I glanced at it, didn't think too much of it.
Are there other conspiracies or strange phenomenons that you're interested in?
Not particularly. Like I said, just a pretty normal guy with my own perspective from where I come from, small town, middle America. Interested in a lot of the conversations you guys do have. Like I said, you guys are diving into some really important topics. I really feel like it, and just interested in being a part of it. That's really just what it comes down to with me. Not really going to give a great perspective or anything like that, but maybe just give you a balanced look from where I'm from.
Nothing wrong with that. That's good stuff.
Of all the topics we've covered, I think this is our 40th stream under the Deliberating Dogface Dudes brand. What were some of your most interested topics that we began to cover? And we want to kind of circle back.
I think one of the ones that really got to me a little bit that I had a pretty strong personal opinion on, and it was one of your spicier topics, and I don't really know if it's too early for that type of topic or not.
Go into it. Dive right in.
Yeah, like the thing with disabled people and stuff like that, and their value to humanity, and the whwhole topic of the guy from Italy or something like that adopted the 13-month or day-old girl that 20 families passed on. I mean, that's like, oh man, just like, I love letting people. I love to think that people are good-hearted, and things like that. But some things just don't sit right with me, no matter what, you know. I know people. I know some you know, gay or lesbians that have children, and you know, they they seem. I actually know these two black guys or two gay guys. They adopted a whole family from Africa. They got like six kids, and they all seem very well adjusted. And it's pretty amazing what they did. Um, I don't know too much about them. I met them, and I was doing electrical work in the house for a couple days, and everything just seemed very normal, and happy and good stuff like that. But when it's one guy with a tiny little defenseless child that will never really be able to express anything, and it just creeps me, to be honest, personally, like it creeps me out. And I think, personally, I think these things, I don't know if they're how real they are or not, but it definitely it it, it it's a good conversation starter to get people talking, no matter what. And I wish it would never, personally, I wish nothing like that would ever happen. I got a deep, soft spot. I got a soft spot in my heart for people with, deformities and birth defects and stuff like that. I have close friends that have children that are either autistic or different levels of sclerosis or in a wheelchair, and they're great people. Police officers, stuff like that. They really love their kids and everything. It does I feel like it does kind of put a burden on society in a certain way, but I think in modern society, we should be able to innovate and be able to, it spurs innovation in certain ways to get people healed and or taken care of. And I think in modern society, it's not like we're on the Oregon Trail anymore. At one point, definitely would have been much tougher for people to care for these people that aren't able to care for themselves so much or carry weight or whatever. My sister, she's multiple handicap. She was born, and they said that she was going to be a vegetable for her whole life, wouldn't be able to do anything, and they said she'd die before she's 20. She wouldn't be able to do anything. She's just going to basically be sitting there and doing nothing. She finished high school. She could sign. She did sign language. And she was able to cook. She was able to babysit kids. She looked after me. Even at a young age, she was looking after me. She was 4 years older than me, and she taught me a lot about nonverbal communications. And she had a lot of value to her. And she lived to be 34. And for me, I got a real soft spot for people like that. So that was I like a good joke just as much as everybody else, but for me, I'm gonna defend people like that any chance I get. But when it comes to people that are, I don't know, might have different intentions with caring for the most vulnerable among us, that's kind of like when it comes to like kids, that's where all the fun and games for me stop. And you gotta, there's no messing with the kids when people can do whatever they want to do as they're adults. But when it comes to little kids, that ain't good.
That was a very specific fringe case, and the reason I brought it up was because this guy on his social media years later continued to post pictures of his daughter as if she was a puppy dog that he had bought. And then he's doing this thing where he's exploiting her, but then he's saying, I'm not exploiting her. Look, she's a real human being, while exploiting her and exploiting his good deeds for having adopted her and how great he is as a person for taking care of this person, while exploiting himself and herself over social media. That's one thing. When he went too far was when he began to get involved with politics. So now she becomes a political use case to change policy.
it's virtual signaling to the sickening degree. You know, it's just using somebody else's, you know, affliction or whatever to prop your own self up. It's just, for me, like, don't you have anything else to run on? Like, why are you pushing it? Why would you ever push the envelope with somebody like that? Like, they're not there for that, buddy. You got the whole thing wrong.
Yeah, you talked about nonverbal communication with your sister. What was sort of like the figuring out how do you communicate? You guys were similar age growing up?
Yeah, she's 4 years older than me, and she would like, I learned a little bit about like sign language and things like that, and I learned to communicate with her. But a lot of times it was more like, oh, it's time to eat. It's it's hot out here. Like, you want to go outside? Like, we would kind of just communicate in these ways, and I could just feel like understand almost in a intuitive way what she was thinking. Maybe it was just because we were so closely connected. But yeah, kind of like almost an intuitive connection between us, where it's actually amazing learning to communicate with somebody else, like I said, non-verbally, and even without sign language in a way.
And understand my position during that same show wasn't that these are like worthless people or anything. It's that in heathen society, when they would take and kill them as babies, it's because they wanted to stop their suffering.
Totally understand your point there, and I get your point there,
and also, but that was coupled with the complete understanding of that they're going to be back. That all you've done, you haven't really done anything to them. You've just like somebody gave them a bad broken one. You're like, oh no, you don't want this one. You come back in a better one next time.
Totally get that point. But like I said, I'm just bringing my perspective from where I come from and my real life experience. The doctors, they said that she was going to be nothing. She wasn't going to be she's going to be a vegetable. She would have been one of those ones that they, in a heathen society, they would just, it was probably best for her not to be there. And it wasn't. It was a little bit different for that, So, there's individual cases, and there's certain cases where certainly, that's definitely between, the parent and the doctor or whatever. They need to make that decision. If it's just going to be in pain its whole life or whatever, like it's undeniable, then that's something that they need to deal with for sure.
Yeah, but again, like you said, I wasn't trying to push that off on anybody either, and you're definitely not being, I appreciate your opinion and the way you see it, and I can understand why. I just, the more overall point on that was just that I think that there's a dead spirituality because everybody's switched to this. You only live once, and it's basically, you just do whatever you can in this lifetime, and that's the end of it. And that's led to a real dead spirituality for people.
Mm-hmm. Good point.
And I still would be, again, with the whole, this soul is your relative that's coming back that you already love and appreciate. So I also get furious about, that's fine if you're in a society that's not going to deal with them the way that society did. I get that. But to then abuse them? Oh, hell no. That's a whole different story. Like there was never harm intended so what you're intending is harm. And I don't know that this fella intends that he probably, that child's probably babied something fierce, but the understanding that the person's using it as a virtue flag. And so we understand that, that's literally why you went and got that child. Like you purchased yourself some virtue like that. You're a very disgusting person. And it definitely leaves obviously, if you're not doing it out of love or just pure desire to have that, spend time with that, if you're doing it for alternative reasons, then that definitely puts up red flags for other things. But I'm not saying that any of those are happening, but it's something you would definitely need to keep a sharper eye on.
Yeah, definitely.
You're talking about
I wonder what the
consciousness,
solution is
spirituality?
from. Like, go ahead.
Yeah, you're talking about consciousness and spirituality, the nonverbal communication. Did you feel like there was maybe telepathy or some sort of fifth sense or something? Did you feel with like dream communication? How woo did it go?
Not very deep. It's just one of those things it was when you're
She's
3 years
born
old,
deaf.
4 years old, you don't really think about intuitive or anything like that. You're just thinking my sister doesn't talk and everybody else around her talks, but somehow I can still kind of understand, because she's the one, like I said, she was taking care of me quite a bit. That's one of the things she really enjoyed, was taking care of little babies and little kids and stuff like that. So I think, they say like mothers and kids, they kind of have their own special connection and stuff like that. So it's not something I took a little bit deeper, but there was a little bit of an understanding of natural connection between people, that is there. I think any dad, or I don't know, I have a connection with my kids, but I don't really feel like I could speak. They're going to understand, but I can give them a look, like, quit that shit, stop doing what you're doing, and they get it, and that's kind of like the very top layer of it. I think these things could be taken deeper. I mean, what they say, the telepathy tapes or something like that. I don't know too much. I haven't watched them, or I don't know too much about it.
That's kind of where I was going. You are telepathic. You just read my mind.
Oh well,
The quick
maybe I got
rundown.
your nonverbal communication.
Yeah, exactly. The quick rundown on the telepathy tapes. This woman who wanted really bad to be a documentary filmmaker and wanted everyone to pay attention to her decided, well, okay, what's a good topic that's hot? Okay, autism is an interesting topic. Mommy bloggers talking about the special elements within their children. Okay, there's a target audience. Okay, and then this idea of telepathy plays into it. So she goes around and visits these homes where mothers of children who are nonverbal have this sort of, it seems like a psychic connection, and they're able to read each other's minds somehow. So she brought on a recording documentary crew, another guy basically, and they went to these homes. They talked to these mothers. Many of them were like Spanish speakers as well, so they weren't even like American.
Okay.
And then she convinces herself, her audience, and everybody else that, because the premise of the podcast documentary series is that these nonverbal autistic children somehow have a telepathic connection with their mother, almost like remote viewing. And of course, this thing went to #1 on all the podcast charts all over the world. So everyone's paying attention to the telepathy tapes, and everyone's like, I love this idea that mothers and their children have a telepathic, psychic, spiritual consciousness connection thing, and that's really beautiful. So then let's exploit that by putting on a podcast, telling these people that everything that they think is true, no pushback. And I bring this up because we are the Deliberating Dog-Faced Dudes, where we're going to deliberate, pushback, and debate, the realness of the so-called telepathy claim. Of course, if you go on Threads or Twitter or anywhere else and you say, you know what, the data they gathered that proved this is true is kind of shaky, then you get shouted down from the rooftop to say, no, we don't want to have that conversation. So it's true believers echo chambering. Yes, this is true. This is real. I love Stranger Things. I love the idea of MK Ultra and gifted and talented education. All these things just coalesce into one story. And then mothers are made to feel extra special, that they have a child with extra special abilities, kind of like an X-Men thing.
My
Kind of
kid's
a
not a
fancy-
retard. He's an X-Men.
Right.
You got 2 questions from the crowd. I don't know why the tags did not work. This one I don't know whether you're going to have an answer for it or not. This is what Steve did to the Friday night verbal combat guys. How is technocracy dehumanizing us, and how can we circumvent?
Is it dehumanizing us?
What?
Is it dehumanizing us? Technocracy?
For sure.
As a stated aim of the technocratic movement. Yeah.
I mean, you look at younger kids today, they don't even know how to talk to people of the opposite sex. They don't know how to talk to each other if they aren't online. And the way they talk online, most people wouldn't ever talk like that in person, but these kids haven't had enough in-person talking, so it's definitely changed that.
I completely agree with you. I got 3 boys, 6, all under, one's 16, one's 11, another one's 6. And that's a daily constant conversation we have in our house about technology. And I didn't grow up with this. I did grow up with video games, but I was outside all day long, and I couldn't wait to get outside every single day. That's the point of I tell my kids every day, outside, that's where it's really at, guys. That's the real virtual world. You go out there, you could figure out how to build stuff, tear stuff apart, like build a fire, like whatever you want to do, like ride a bike, get sweaty. And they're on that constant dopamine drip. I tell them, like, this stuff is constantly, this fast scrolling stuff is just trying to get you. It's just like drug in a lot of ways. It's like drugs. They're playing on the same type of receptors in your brain, and I tell them, I was like, you gotta be smarter in this. You can't just let this stuff control you, because like they're losing your energy. They're taking your energy, right? So yeah, it is dehumanizing in a lot of ways, but technology can be used for good too. I think it's just like anything else. It can be used for good. It can be used for bad. There's a lot of bad players out there right now just trying to collect as much of your energy as possible using these things.
So I think that the technology, it's supposed to enhance, not necessarily replace, like several aspects of day-to-day life. But when you get into the realm of it, like replacing things, that's when it becomes a little bit more concerning, because running right next to like a technological rapid acceleration in any society, we also have this transhuman component that's been running as an undercurrent for like the last century. It's all rooted in eugenics. It did a lot of the people who became famous as sci-fi writers in the 40s and 50s all come out with or have massive ties to eugenicist societies and stuff like that. And the real dehumanization to me is the altering of the structure of the human, which is something that's been introduced over at least the last 5 years, like at a genetic level. And then making that an enviable status type thing, like the less originally human you are, the more status you're going to have. That's what it's currently being sold as. Like the elite are going to have augmentations and enhancements to their exoskeleton, to their actual skeleton, to their musculature. You know, you could basically go to like a Build-A-Bitch workshop and like make a person. And that's what's currently being, sold as what to expect in the very near future. And that's effectively eliminating like all of the components of being human.
Designer babies, and that's again going back to that guy out of Italy who bought a designer baby, but the design of the baby was maybe it was not a standard model child, and then to exploit that child all along. I don't think this guy took a day off from social media, constantly posting and posting. I don't know if we want to bring up Greta Thunberg at all, but she was kind of also in a situation where she didn't know what was going on. She didn't have an education of the geopolitical climate of the time. And
Marcus, how dare you?
How dare you, Steve? How dare you?
How dare you? I don't mean to pick on him.
Was she okay? So Greta, I don't know. Was she on a boat for a little while? She took a little boat trip, and now she's in international waters. But now she's maybe not.
No, she's back in Sweden.
Okay.
Yeah. She spent 48 hours getting all of her sensory deprivation, fucking Israeli holding cell.
So she hasn't got enough pull to get past the Israelis, huh?
The chick that like refused to sign the deportation or whatever papers because Israel goes and kidnaps all these people in international waters, and they take them back to Israel, throw them in a fucking cell, and they're like, "You're here illegally, bitch. I'm here because you kidnapped me and brought me here. That's why I'm here." Like I would be there, not here, if you guys hadn't done the shit that you did. You get that, right? Like that's how that would work. And one of the chicks that they had in there was like, "I'm fucking Palestinian and Syrian. I'm already home. I'm not here illegally. You're here illegally. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about." To me, she was, much more of the badass of that bunch.
Yeah, that's some balls. That's some balls.
I'm waiting for Greta to join the ICE.
Dude, highly autistic people don't age at all, man. They look freaking 17 when they're 40.
Yeah, she got that.
Look at Shane Gillis, dude. He's a day walker, and he hasn't aged at all in like a decade.
Yeah, that fetal alcohol syndrome. So our other question is, what are the biggest issues facing your town in Ohio?
So yeah, in Ohio, it's there's a lot of people that have went through. I don't know. I think it's just more of like it can be like hopelessness or disconnection from other people. For me, I've dealt with my own problems for so long, just trying to figure out, I guess my ass from a hole in the ground. Just trying to figure out what life's really all about. Kind of grew up in a dysfunctional family. Wealth gap is kind of a big thing for some people. I think I don't know. It's not my Ohio is pretty middle of the road when it comes to so many different things. So you're gonna have a lot of some drug problems and stuff like that. I think that stems from like depression and just being ignorant about how to take care of yourself in the right way, listening to other people, making poor decisions, make poor people, stuff like that. And there's no, we have little issues. People make mountains out of molehills here. There's nothing really too bad here. Life goes on. The show will go on. People they just like to sit back and relax. I think that's a lot of it. they and that's good. People just trying to be happy and live their life, and for the most part take care of their family and take care of their responsibilities, and move on. But I don't speak for everybody. I know everybody has their own, family. More than anything, it's usually it ain't really the problem outside. It's more the problem internal on the families and stuff like that. Like day-to-day little problems, going to work, the grind. The grind. For me, that's been a lot of what my problem has been. Just the grind every day, trying to be the best version of myself, and failing every day and letting myself down every day. That's my big problem. Trying to be the best version of myself and not getting to it.
Yeah, I mean that's if you actually, I don't know, dude. If you actually get to a point where you're like, oh, okay, I'm satisfied. Like, what's that look like?
For me,
And yeah, and I mean, would that be? Would you be like, oh, okay, I can chill, or I can because I don't know. I have
for,
a
for
hard
me, I
time.
grew up in a different family dynamic. Like, sorry to cut in. You should, yeah, go ahead.
Go for it.
Yeah, no, like my sister, she was multiple handicap. My dad, he was handicapped. He's passed away now. My mom grew up, she couldn't even read. So, she's still dealing with a lot of stuff. I love my mom and stuff like that, but there's a lot of trauma in her background from her family. Like, I don't know any of my family at all, like either side. Like, really, I've never talked to any of them. I don't know any of my family. Like, we're all just kind of like, I don't even know where I come from type stuff. And so, I have three sisters. One of them's passed away now, and for me, growing up, it was kind of everything was put on my shoulders to be the one that would take care of everything. And so, you know, and there's even some other stuff that happened before I, turned 7, and a whole bunch of drama with this. I'm not going to get into my whole personal history or anything like that. But yeah, that's kind of, and so to get satisfaction, like I've gotten to the point where I should be satisfied, but at the same time, like I felt like I've just gotten to the point where, like this is the way I describe it. Like, my parents come from less than nothing, and so they got me to the point where I come from nothing, and then right now I'm just trying to get to the point where I can have a little something for my kids, like where they come from a little something. And so I want to make sure, for me, satisfaction, that my family and my boys, they understand right from wrong, that they don't get addicted to things that are going to take all their energy, and they're going to have a successful family for themselves and be happy. That would make me satisfied in the end. If I could do that, and if I can have a positive, um, leave something that's positive. Try to, I try to live my life like in a way that it's by simple rules. When I was doing electrical work, I try to treat everybody's house like it's my mom's house or my house. And, I try to everything I try to do, I try to leave it a little bit better than I found it. And so that's what will make me satisfied. If I can leave this place a little bit better than I found it, or a lot better than I found it, and that starts with me first. So if I can be a representation to my kids and my family, and do those type of things and be better, even if I've made mistakes. I mean, I've made more mistakes than there is sand on the beach, man. I've made, and I tell my kids all the time, it's like, I made all the mistakes. Ask me anything. I made them all. I did it. I'm not perfect, but you know what? You can learn from me. I've tried to listen to other people who have made mistakes too, and not make all the mistakes, but I made a lot of mistakes myself. So if I can just leave the place a little bit better than I found it, that would satisfy me. And obviously just be successful, and be able to do what I want when I want to do it. And actually, if I can help other people, that, like my sister Mandy, that she was multiple handicapped, and look out for people like that. And that's really what it's about. Try to have a positive, and not sit back and just let everybody else make all the decisions, and then I'm here complaining about everything because I'm not doing nothing about it. If I don't speak up and say something, then I don't have no right to say nothing.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Sorry to be long-winded, not
no,
sorry.
man. No, it's a
Trying to
long
get it out
show.
there.
My
That's
other
who I
show's
am.
3 hours, dude. I'm used to lengthy answers. I do have to go grab some clothes out of the dryer here in a minute. But
You don't
I'll
have
be
a
back.
smart dryer, or do you have a smart dryer that told you it was ready?
I'd set a timer. Apartment complex. I gotta go down a flight of stairs and to the laundry room. But yeah, we're not there yet. About the time this joint's done, we gotta go. That's my timer.
It's a good timer. It's a good timer.
Yeah.
A practical timer. Yeah, family's important. Very important. Sort of isolation you experienced, having to be man of the house from a young age, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, there's I kind of, it was kind of a weird dynamic in our house where if I did good, I was trying to be better than my parents, and then if I did something wrong, well, they a little bit more harsh on me than maybe what they should have been, but that I think in Gen X and people who come from trauma and stuff like that, they're just trying to figure it out for themselves. So I've done a lot of reshaping the narrative of what I thought about that and forgiveness, and doing my own shadow work and trying to figure out they went through probably way worse than I could ever imagine. So
yeah, words like shadow work. How did you come across that concept and those ideas? And you just figure this stuff out on your own and read books?
Well, yeah, I read. Well, I heard people talk about it. I was interested in psychology pretty young, at a young age. I got in trouble when I was younger, and before I got in trouble, I wanted to either go into psychology or to be a firefighter. And so my best friend, he ended up getting a psychology degree and then becoming a firefighter. So I get to live vicariously through him, and all that stuff. So psychology is important. You study the mind, you study the brain, you understand why, you try to figure out what's going on and why people think the way they think. And I think it's good to understand terms like that and to work through your own problems so you don't have to bother everybody with your stuff.
Yeah, that's what we're all trying to figure out. Why are we here? What are we doing? How much time do we have on this earth to leave it better than we found it? And you're just living an honest life, doing honest, hard work. And do you ever feel like it's a thankless job? Like you only get some attention if you do something wrong?
Yeah, that was something, I definitely dealt with when I was younger. Like I was pretty good in school and things like that. I wrote some speeches and stuff like that got me into student council, and I won the DARE speech in 5th grade.
Let's pause and
Did
talk
you win
about
the
DARE.
irony speech in like 11th grade? Because I would have won that too. Yeah.
Do you still have your DARE t-shirt?
DARE t-shirt.
The original DARE t-shirt.
Yeah, I don't have one still.
Oh man, I wish I still had mine.
I do too.
I am shocked you don't. I am really shocked that Marcus didn't just reach out and pull it out of a fucking Marcus has
I'm surprised it's not in a frame behind that fucking Star Trek curtain or whatever the fuck that is behind him.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
that's sort of like I don't know if it was a dream or a memory. I know there was a T-shirt, and I don't know if it was like they had one T-shirt in the DARE program, and then you had to like win a prize, or your name was drawn on a hat, or one student got a T-shirt, or if we all got T-shirts. Or I think what happened was I got the T-shirt, but it was like an extra large or something, so I would drown in it. I think I gave it to someone who was able to wear it or something.
Okay.
So I think at some point I had the T-shirt, but I had to grow into it. I wasn't yet the man that DARE wanted me to be.
So I remember it was Just Say No for like a year or two when I was in elementary school, and then I think maybe in 6th grade it changed to DARE. But I remember,
Just Say No.
I remember, Nancy Reagan. because we can thank Nancy Reagan for that. And I remember the Just Say No cop came in and he showed our whole classroom what a cannabis plant looked like. And I had never seen, I didn't know. I didn't
Steve
know.
was like,
I was like, oh, that's it. What Uncle David has.
Horticulture.
He says, don't go get into that part of the garden. I'm like,
Okay.
oh, all right.
now I know where to get the weed.
Yeah.
So was the
The
DARE
cop showed me what it
program?
was. He also
bringing a
showed us
cop
what
into
coke
class?
was too.
Yeah, so the DARE program brings a police officer into the school to talk to 4th and 5th graders, and then they show them pictures of plants. Was it the goal to then have students anonymously,
Yeah, they wanted
tell
to
the police
snitch.
officer the parents have access to these?
They
the
wanted a whole
pharmaceuticals?
little army of 10, 11-year-old snitches. They did. They did. I don't know what
Right.
kind of house you guys grew up in,
Well-
but we didn't fucking rat. I don't know.
It seemed to me more the case that if I were to go to a friend's house and observe strange behaviors in my friend's parents, that maybe I would write on an anonymous sheet of paper, I think my friend's parents are into something strange. Maybe investigate them. Here's their last name and here's their name. And it's like, is that what that was about?
Jesus, Marcus went to the full on fucking Gestapo fucking
Right?
DARE program. Jesus.
Right?
That's where we were at about 1996 or 7, I think.
And then there was some fucking still living Stasi officer that was like, you mean we could have done that to the elementary school kids? Holy fuck, why didn't we think of that? Holy
Right.
shit, we could have had the best army of snitches ever. We will give you 2 lollies a day and the cookies on Friday.
Yeah, there was definitely that type of aspect to it all. Looking back, it's like it's hard to imagine because that's such an interesting topic. I could write speeches and stuff like that. I think that's more or less why I won, and or something like that. It's definitely that snitch type of culture-ish. Like the cop comes in and you're like, okay, are your parents smoking doobies at the house?
You can
Dude,
tell
at
who the
my-
really,
at
really
my-
proud. You can tell who the really proud DARE graduates were based during COVID. Everybody was locked down. They're like the people that are like, he's surfing. What are they doing having people in their yard? Those were the proud DARE graduates. They still have their shirts. They do. A stack of bumper stickers.
Yeah, my daughter, I didn't do DARE or anything like that. South Dakota's behind on everything, but my kids did. And my daughter, they brought in the fucking drug dog. I was like, oh my God. Like, and I
hitting on her sweatshirt.
oh dude, I'd smoked like 2 fucking joints on the way into this thing going, I'm gonna have to sit through this bullshit. I'm gonna need to be high as hell. And then I get in there and there is no damn seats except for right at the front. I'm like,
And there's
oh,
like,
that
here's
was
Sergeant Stadenko and
Yeah,
his
yeah.
fucking dog Ripper.
yeah, and they're like, we got a surprise, kids, and I'm like, oh fuck me, I already know what this is. And they roll in the drug dog. I'm like, oh God, and the cops like, we sprayed this stick with marijuana, and the dog's gonna find it, and he chucks it up into the seats, and the dog goes and he starts down the row and starts coming at me, and I'm just sitting there like, yep, he's gonna be like, this guy's got the stick right up his ass. He is the stick. Like,
Dog's giving you extra kisses on the mouth.
Dog gets the stick 4 rows behind Ben and starts waggy tailing way down the aisle towards the cop, drops the stick at Ben and just bites him.
Yeah. And that dog went right by me. Didn't even freaking flinch. The dog treated me no different than anybody else. I
gotta ask, in the school parking lot, did certain parents, congregate around different groups? Did you have other parents talking to you and saying, hey, what's your phone number? Let's do a barbecue this weekend?
Definitely happened to me when my kid was in kindergarten. Yeah.
Well, I mean, with the DARE
Yeah.
program, so if it's like, you know, certain parents would have a certain aroma on them, and other parents would congregate together in certain groups.
I'll be back in a few, gents.
Right. So I think what the DARE program taught the children is that there's two types of people in the world: those that dare to do and those that dare to don't.
Yep.
And I'm a doer.
You're a
I've done it.
Scooby Dooer, a Scooby Dooby Dooper in the mystery van in the parking lot.
And you're Shaggy.
Yeah.
Shaggy didn't wear such weird outfits, so
Well, yeah, I don't know. Sign of the times, fashion changes. Trying
Yeah.
to keep up with them.
didn't he just kind of wear dull earth tones? You're not really a dull earth tone guy.
You know, a lot of the new fashion at Target is those dull earth tones. And you walk into a Target store and you see kind of like the youth sizes, and they're all wearing like mustard yellow and like.
You need like some
seafoam
Cyndi
green.
Lauper sunglasses with like the points off to the side, just one side, and like.
Yeah, it's the young person who is so embarrassed by everything that they don't want to stand out. So they want to wear clothes that just blends in. They don't want logos. They don't want.
Everybody's gonna start looking like fucking Sistine Chapel monks.
Essentially, yeah.
Just walk around with like with a fucking brown robe on.
Yep, a lot of earth tone hooded sweatshirts, khaki pants, stuff that doesn't stand out. There's no real style. If you seem to wear a style, or you have a favorite band and you put it on your shirt and then everyone laughs at you for liking the band, then you don't wear your band t-shirt to school anymore. This sort of conformity thing is
Has it been a week since you listened to your favorite band then?
Well, story time. I did go to a Newsboys concert. They had their One Night in Pennsylvania special. This is when they were doing the Step Up to the Microphone tour, and they were in the Target Center. I wanted to go to a concert, and my church youth group, my youth pastor, like, well, we're going to the Target Center. I think it was a Sunday night concert, and I went to the concert, and it was awesome. Target Center, huge facility. They had the whole lights. They had the drum. They had a rising drum platform where the drum rises up and then it tilts over. So it's like at a 90-degree angle. And the drummers, like, they had two drummers and they both put their seatbelt on and they strapped in and they're going like vertical and things spinning around like a carousel, Ferris wheel. But they're facing the audience and they're just like having a drum battle. And they had all their songs. I went and bought a dog tag because I didn't have a whole lot of money, so I bought the cassette tape. I didn't have a CD player, and then I bought a dog tag, and I think I wore that dog tag that said Newsboys on it every day after I purchased it. But if I put it out,
Still wearing it?
I'd have to find it. It's in my belongings somewhere. I think it has a little bit of the sweat stains on it, from wearing it too much. But the point was, if I wore it out and people would see that it said Newsboys, they'd be like, "What are the Newsboys?" And I'd have to explain to them, well, they play music. They're a band. No one knew who they were.
I still don't know who they are.
They're one of the top grossing Christian artists of all time. From Australia. Couple guys from New Zealand. But the point I'm making for this personal anecdote was,
Down Under.
if I were the Newsboys dog tag and it jangled and made too much noise, then people would be like, "Oh, what's that? Why are you wearing jewelry? Why are you standing out?" Because I had gone from being a fourth grader wearing like 8, like I'd cover my entire arm with "What Would Jesus Do" bracelets because I got them at Bible camp, and that was the cool thing to do at Bible camp. But going to a public school wearing, I had 8 different colored "What Would Jesus Do" bracelets in like 4th grade. Well, that's kind of people didn't really care too much. But by the time you get to junior high school, it gets a little bit weird.
Had you gotten up to like 16 then?
Well, I was collecting them. This was, do you remember the "What Would Jesus Do" bracelet trend?
I do remember this trend.
It was something that was as popular as beanie, like bean bags. What do they call hacky sacks? So it was like hacky sacks, pogs, and then they thought, what would Jesus do bracelets? Yo-yos were making a big comeback. So it was all this like merchandise you could buy and you could wear them, and it would sort of determine that, yeah, you are a Christian. You're asking, what would Jesus do? But if you're not at Bible camp, it's not a cool thing to do. If you go to a public school, the conformity is going to just get nailed into you. If you stand out in any direction.
NSYNC bracelets. Is that what you're telling me?
Britney Spears t-shirt, maybe.
Man, I was on a panel the other night on Sarah Tomato show, and this dude just started fucking for no apparent reason showing off like his Britney Spears magazines and picture collection. I was like, what the fuck is this guy doing?
Did he have his nipples out?
I think
No.
the cool thing, I think, was South Park at the time. South Park had become a popular thing, and it was about fourth graders in Colorado. And if you were in 6th or 7th grade and you were allowed to watch South Park, you were in a different category. You were allowed to watch South Park. And then the kids that weren't allowed to watch South Park because their parents knew what it was and said, you can't watch it. I was in the category that
watch South Park.
well, I mean, you know, your 6th grade kids walking around with South Park t-shirts are probably the coolest kids at the school. And then maybe you got into SpongeBob a little bit later, but it's the sort of conformity thing. Speeches. What were the topics of the speeches that you were writing and performing at the school?
It's been a long time. I don't remember. Like I said, I ran for student council. I got that 2 years in a row. I did well. Like that's the only thing my family. Well, it's not the only thing my family appreciated, but it was definitely something my family appreciated. Is when I did well in school. I got some good attention like that. You know, I got straight A's. Did really good on the standardized tests and things like that. But you know, I was in. There was going to be. I don't know what the speeches were about.
But you were smart.
I guess a little bit.
Were you teased or bullied at all for standing out and sort of like joining student council? And
No, I mean, I was one of those people that I just kind of I gravitated towards everybody. I was with the popular people, but a lot of times the popular kids, they just they like to hang out amongst themselves and things like that. I wasn't really into that too much. Because I had a sister that was different than everybody else, and so I was used to always picking, just kind of like it didn't really matter because I was my own person. A lot of times, just pretty introverted, kept to myself. I started working real young too. I started working when I was like 14. I washing dishes at a pizza shop. I worked for 5 years before I got out of high school, and yeah, I was working like 40 hours weeks when I was in high school and stuff like that too. So,
and keeping solid grades.
Yeah.
That's impossible. How do you do it?
Yeah.
Where do you have time for video games?
Yeah, that's when they slow down there or they stop. The weekends. Didn't play too many. I was good. I liked video games, just like so many other young people do or did or still do. But kind of outgrew them, as you get older.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like video games, I had an Atari and I had a Nintendo, and that was something for when it rained and you couldn't go outside.
That's exactly right. Yep. We didn't have a whole lot of games. If we had I beat all the games I had, so it was like, and then I didn't spend the money I worked on that stuff. I was buying a car, I was buying my own clothes, buying my own lunch, paid for
What was
my
your
own
first
groceries,
car?
stuff like that. Yeah.
Did you? What was your first car?
It was a Toyota. It was a Toyota Tiny.
How small was it?
It's like the old T100. It's not like a T100 or something like that. It's small as a two seat. It had an extended bed though, so
It was like
I
a
bought
pickup
it
truck.
yeah, it was a pickup truck, and I picked it up. It was a red pickup truck. I bought it from my dad's best friend for $1,500.
Wow.
Paid him $100 every week until I paid it off. Bought it when I was like 15, so I bought it before I could even drive.
No interest on
And
the
then-
loan?
Huh?
No interest on that loan?
Yeah, no interest on that loan. I just paid cash. You know,
Wow.
my dad's. It was an old pickup truck by then, anyways. Like I think it was I don't know how old it was. I think it was like 89 or 90, and I purchased it probably in like 2000 or 99. So it was like at least 10, 11 years old. And yeah, I paid $100 a week. My mom wrecked it before I could even drive.
So what was your second car?
My second car was a yeah, the Pontiac Grand Am. Yeah. that's
My
what I
first
had.
car was a Pontiac Sunbird. It was a 1989.
Mine was a 75 F-150.
I had a
Yeah.
Chevrolet Cavalier coupe with a sunroof.
Look at that sunroof and everything.
Yeah, I had to keep the sunroof open because it overheat. Because I think the person who drove it was a college student, a woman, and I don't think she ever replaced or refilled any of the fluids. So the antifreeze and the whole overheating thing was never really addressed, or it was just drive it. Then I got it, and it would just overheat. So it was real hot. It was a sauna. I didn't want it to be, but it was.
I had a 79 CJ7 right after that.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then a 76 Continental that I had for a little bit. That thing was a fucking land yacht.
Steel
Great.
bumpers.
Yeah, it was either the first or the second year they had like the diner ride suspension. So you just felt like you were floating too. It was freaking cool.
What color was it?
Like puke green.
I remember that color on the 70s vehicles.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it was the worst color scheme up until remember back in the 90s they were doing pastels for a while.
Oh,
for like
yeah.
time you're like,
You
the fuck?
get the neon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this was like somewhere in between puke green and like baby shit green.
My dad had an Impala, basically that same color. Yeah. That car, that was back when they had R12 air conditioning. Shit, that shit would damn near freeze. That shit could hurt. You couldn't hardly put your hands in front of it. Yeah, these kids don't know nothing about that.
Nope.
Or bench seats that you could dad could just reach back and smack the shit out of you. Not even really have to like look back either. One hand, lean back a little bit. Yeah.
Some car names in chat. 85 Ford Escort two-tone blue hatchback.
That lasted 6 weeks.
Dead Wolf Resistance, a 68 Plymouth Fury.
88 Buick LeSabre. That was my second.
Hell yeah, dude.
85 LeSabre, I think.
That's
What was-
camping.
What was the Sex Velvet?
The wire
seats?
wheels? Did it have the wire wheels? On the
Mine?
Saber? Yeah.
No, it didn't. It was, and I got it for like $100, and in the same week I got a Dodge, or like 2 weeks later I got a Dodge Aries for 9 cans of Strohs as spare parts. They had the same fucking engine. And
9 cans of Strohs.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
It was at the end of a party, and the guy wanted it. He's like, "Fuck this car, fuck it." He's like, "Who wants to buy it?" And I was like, you can have the rest of this beer. And it was, the 30-pack, the suitcase of Stroh's. He goes, deal.
All right.
Was it a pink slip in the glove compartment?
Oh, yeah, he had the title. He gave me the title and everything.
That
He was
same
pissed
night?
off 'cause he broke the driver's seat. He was a big dude. And he's one of them dudes that when he sat down, like, put zero effort into not just flopping. And, like, basically like every 13-year-old boy where they're like, let me try and destroy everything I sit on. I'm just going to do a butt drop. And he did that, and he broke in the back of the seat, went like that, and he was pissed. So 9 cans of Stroh's. That's back when you gave somebody $30, to go get as much beer as they could from the liquor store, and they'd come back and it'd just be horrible, cheap ass beer, but you got a bunch of it.
And then you get the mad people after you, the Mothers Against Drunk Driving, later to be changed to Mothers Against Destructive Decisions. And they were very upset about teenagers drinking alcohol on the weekends.
Mm-hmm. Goddamn no good punk kids. Yeah. I did, Ben, you'll appreciate this. I traded 2 ounces. This is back in like, I don't know, 98, maybe 97. I traded 2 ounces of like very, very nice Tahoe OG indoor in Tahoe for a 1982 Subaru Justy with brand new fucking snow tires. Brand new.
Can't beat that.
Yeah. And then I drove it all winter, rallied that fucking thing, dude. It was so much fun. So much fun. And at the end of the winter, when I was getting ready to leave Tahoe, I fucking turned around and sold it for almost $2,000, $1,800. Yeah. I think I got like a teener of Coke out of it too.
Nice.
Why not? Yeah. Because it's a very long time ago, kids. I don't recommend doing that. It's a bad.
The new
that's a
Coke?
destructive decision. The mothers would be against that.
The new Coke or the old Coke? The original recipe?
The Peruvian kind.
Sugarcane?
Yeah. Something cane. Yes. Yes. That's for sure.
I wonder if the Rumble chatters have nicer cars than the YouTube chatters says their first cars.
We're gonna have to when the channel's able to take super chats. We'll have to have a competition to see whether or not the Rumble chat or the YouTube chat is sitting on more stacks of them bands. And yeah, we can figure it out by you guys throwing your hard-earned dollars at deliberating dog-faced dudes.
We're about 500 watch hours away.
You heard it, kids. Just fire up just get all of the shows on a playlist, fire it up, and leave your house. It's the Sam Tripoli method, except for he used to do this to whatever like FBI or NSA agent was tasked with like monitoring him and his web activity. And when he would leave for the road for a weekend to go do a bunch of gigs, he would just queue up Pornhub and put it on like the gnarliest horse shit he could find, have that play on a loop for Agent Smith while he was 8 states away telling jokes. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
He was like, I find little ways to fight the system. You're never going to find me at a protest. You know?
Right.
I love that guy.
Oh boy.
I wonder if our guest has ever attended a protest for anything.
You would never catch me at a protest.
Not even at a sit-in or a non-violent protest?
I would be non-violent, but I couldn't guarantee what all the other people would be doing. Now, yeah, I mean, a non-violent protest like back in the day where people actually weren't supplied with bricks and stuff like that or whatever. To me, you go to a protest anymore, it's you're just asking for trouble in a lot of ways. There's a lot of other probably means that you could protest other than going to a protest and making yourself a target, I think.
So you're saying you're more of a horse porn guy? I'm fucking with you. You don't have to answer that.
Sam Tripoli would have though.
Sam Tripoli is a horse porn guy for sure.
It's hilarious.
That guy's a card. He's a hell of a guy.
Yep.
No, yeah. I mean, look, dude. Everybody has lots of thoughts about Sammy. He's a friend. He's always gonna be a friend. He's always fucking put me on and helped me out, and came out and did the carnival for relatively, in comic money next to fucking nothing. And yeah, and he'll do it again.
I haven't caught up on Sam Tripoli as much as other people, I guess. I've been meaning to check him out, and I know he's a funny ass guy. So
if you get an opportunity to, man, go see a live stand-up show. I know he goes through Ohio and shit.
Yeah, I'll definitely do that.
He's great. His stand-up show is great. Steve and I have both been on his show numerous times. But his stand-up's great. I went and saw him down in the Bay. It was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, Doom Scrolling is a funny show, Ben. Have you ever watched it with him and Midnight Mike?
No, I haven't.
Midnight Mike, yeah. OBDM, our Big Dumb Mouth podcast. Midnight Mike.
From the Our Big Dumb Mouth podcast and the Union of the Unwanted. That's correct.
I used to rather like that Conspiracy Social Club till Brian Callen quit, and he has that Jew kid in there with him now.
Callen's a retard, dude. I'm so glad that he's not on that show anymore. The whole show was just Sam yelling at his friend in his face for being stupid for 80 episodes, the 100 episodes or whatever.
Dude, I found it hilarious because it was like, because Sam does not do a great job representing the conspiracy community at all. Like, that guy is like almost like them. He's like one of them guys. It's like, make like a tree and get the fuck out of here. Yeah. Like, only he does that in conspiracy terms. Yeah. He's like, it's like, oh yeah, the whole reason that the satanic Illuminati have controlled the monetary system
is because the Black Pope is sucking Quetzalcoatl's fucking chicken dick.
And you're just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I'm gonna need you to back up, sir.
Yeah. And so he's sitting over there completely giving like the worst representation of a conspiracy theory.
I think it's Dinosaur
Brian
Dick.
Callen's over there on the other side fucking saying some of the dumbest shit you ever heard. And it's
Andy's winding Sam up the whole time, and they've known each other for almost 30 years. So he knows like all of the wind up fucking buttons to hit, which throws Sam off his game even more.
Yeah.
Well,
my dad is a banker for JP Morgan, and he hangs out with the Rothschilds, and that's not what they do.
Right. Oh, my uncle in the Defense Department would never. Yeah. Okay, Callen. Okay. I know Goman. I know you're going up. All right.
Yeah, I thought that show was funny. Sam got irritated with me because he doesn't want to. He gets mad because he doesn't want to understand that Judaism is a religion and not a people. It's not a race; it's a religion.
Right.
And then also got mad at me because he was on somebody's show and he said, there's the all, and then there's the other things, the dark ones, the other. Sam, is it all? Because can there be an all and then other things?
Okay.
Then that's not all. Well, think about what you're saying, man.
So we're gonna have to draw out the Venn diagram and show the all, and where the other things fit into the
Venn
all
diagram.
in the Venn diagram.
Yeah, yeah, that one's a circle. That was a circle, like Steve said. The all is a circle, and everything else is inside of that.
I don't
That's
think
right.
Marcus wants clever points for that so bad. Let me see what I got.
I don't think it's a
Mm.
circle though. I think that all is everything, and if you draw a circle, then it's dividing the everything from.
Circle with a dot.
Hang on.
That's
Is it
a
this
nipple.
one?
Goddamn Jews!
No, it wasn't that one. Greta.
That was the one.
Greta.
It wasn't that one. Was it this
That's
one?
fucking retarded.
That's
Clever
Kanye.
Kanye. It was clever Kanye. It wasn't you're mean. You're mean. Was it this one?
Remember, someone's mom has probably used you as a bad example to their kid. Until we meet again!
Definitely
That
doesn't
definitely
apply to
happened.
Marcus. It definitely doesn't apply to Marcus though.
That's
Um,
Skeletor.
No.
Yeah.
No, Marcus is our good. He's our. Steve and I, we follow along behind Marcus, dressed in dark, not noticeable colors. So that way Marcus can slide us into these places with his goodness.
Some people have emailed me and said that you guys might be bad influences on me. What do you have
That's
to say
right. I've
about
been
that?
told you're my controller, so
I mean, that's probably true to a degree. I would imagine.
which one?
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
one
no,
is it?
that we're bad influences on good
Yeah.
young Christian brother Marcus here.
Oh, it's funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. I invited him into a hurricane and got him stoned, and he started breaking laws, taking apart road barriers.
All the civil disobedience.
Civil next he's going to be having sex with whores.
We don't recommend
No, they're not allowed to have that with me. I don't consent to that. I learned all about consent. Good hugs and bad hugs. And I won't allow it.
that. Is it your bathing suit area? your no square.
My personal bubble is about 3 times as wide in every
Mhm.
direction as everybody else's.
All right, that's fair.
I usually stand, a great distance away from people, and then I start a conversation with them.
You're like, hey, what's your name?
Yeah,
Fuck you.
Mm-hmm.
that's usually what they say to me.
Oh yeah.
And because I
little-
was so far away from them, I was in a safe spot.
Fuck you, dummy. That's such a great little moment in internet history. It is.
Yes. Trying to find some marketing I was putting together for our show a little bit. Might be a good time to take a marketing break. Premiere a marketing video.
We're doing a marketing video. What are we marketing?
This show
Ourselves.
is brought to you by the Swollenness Company. Swollenness Company. Dick pills for a new generation.
No, it's ourselves. It's marketing ourselves.
Oh, all right.
There's
Oh,
a
is this
YouTube link
your-
in there.
Your
Yeah.
AI abomination.
Yeah, it's a little bit sloppy. Trying to improve it. Can play it if you're able to.
Oh,
get to
I
it.
haven't seen this one yet. I saw
No, it's a new
the
one.
short, and I told Ben that
I knew Steve would like-
something to the effect of like I want to set it on fire, but I'm afraid there won't be enough of it left over to drown.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working with a $0 budget. I'm putting my own money into this project.
Everybody remember that when it's super
It's-
chat time.
That's not, sorry, shit, where'd it go? It's not to say
Trying to find
anything about your skills as an animator.
Right.
It's just it's the AI voice thing. It makes me, what do you call it? Stabby.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Here we go.
Let's listen to this one.
This goofy alliterative show, 3Ds, deliberating dog-faced dudes. You know, the one with the Odinist, the Chaos Wizard, and the guy who sounds like he records from under a Bass Pro shop. They're the men. These men are insane, philosophically unhinged, conspiratorially correct, and somehow deeply healing. They're just 3 guys trying to make sense of manhood, culture, religion, and meme. through 3-hour streams of consciousness where they derail every few minutes. These dudes sound like they're hollering their truth from a pickup truck in the mountains, probably from a cornfield or, hey, a hayfield. Let's be real. Hit play because D3 is raw, masculine and healing, chaotic and sincere. Hosting the show is Benjamin Balderson, literal pagan Odinist alchemist. Like if Gandalf quit wizard school to build a homestead instead. Steve Pittman, legend of AM Wake Up. Seen some shit? He's endured through it all. And Alan Marcus, the show's synchro mystic glue. He can connect ancient fertility cults to, well, just about anything and makes it make sense. Goddess bless him. Together, they're deliberate. Less TED Talk, more backyard bonfire. 3 dudes deliberating about philosophy while roasting the technocratic oligarchic surveillance state. Deliberating dog-faced dudes. Available now at alanmarcus.com.
Find me a midget Samoan to do that voiceover. That's what it needs. It needs a midget Samoan.
Yeah.
And it's a winner.
Okay.
What's that?
That's a good first draft.
Yeah. But alive, drawing breath, living, breathing midget Samoan, not an AI voice.
Correct. I'll
Don't
inject
make me
some
like
humanity
that.
to it.
I'm not going to keep it for a pet, babe. That'd be weird. Stop. Who would do that? Why would you say that?
Do you like the concept of a talking fire hydrant?
The concept of a talking fire hydrant. How much acid have I ingested?
I know.
Lifetime or recently?
No. I mean, for the fire hydrant to start talking. Yeah, no, this isn't a share, Ben. I'm not trying to. This isn't even my meeting.
Narcoleptics Anonymous.
Oh, I ain't having no problem with that. This spring is kicking my ass. Holy. So much work to do.
Yeah, that's why we're trying to get into some marketing to spread the word of the 3Ds or the D3s or whatever we are. I don't know.
That's right. That's right. Never had marketing before, and now it's on.
We still don't have marketing, but we're trying to move in that direction.
Whoa.
See,
Yeah,
here's where I want to voice over Steve. He's like, well, no, babe, we actually could get a midget from Samoa. I mean, we could keep it in the closet. I mean, it's okay. You're from a different culture. Everybody will understand.
Closeted Samoan.
We'll feed it. I'll take it out for walks with Gomez.
That's hilarious.
I have a strange memory. I don't know if this is just a Minnesota church thing, but when I was young, all these adults would talk in Donald Duck voices. They do the Donald Duck voice.
Were you on acid?
I think I was.
Nice.
I think I was. But they were doing like voice acting, and they do the Donald Duck voice, and they could all do it really well. And then all these adults at church would start talking Donald Duck voice to each other.
Were you in the church of Mel Blanc?
Maybe. He's not the Spaceballs guy, is he?
No, that's Mel Brooks.
Okay. Spaceball 2, hit or miss on the tomato meter? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
Oh, down. Yeah, Mel Blanc did the Looney Tunes voices.
Like Mel B, I think that's a Spice Girl.
Is it?
I don't fucking know.
So. Chad, is Mel B a Spice Girl?
Like, Hooker Spice. They were all Hooker Spice, right?
The spit on it spice.
Right.
Josie and the Pussycat Spice.
Mm-hmm. See, now that you probably could have sold me on.
Trafficking in pop stars.
Yeah.
Because you
I
asked
think
about
my,
the
I think my
back
daughter
guy.
liked that Josie and the Pussycats. I'm pretty sure that was one of the shows she used to watch, my oldest.
Hanna-Barbera animation cartoon.
I watched Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
Heck yeah.
Saturday mornings.
Yeah, that was pretty much either there was Scooby-Doo and then there was Hanna-Barbera, and that's pretty much all we had.
Got to check chat. Is Mel B a Spice Girl? Just chat now. We're in a couple different chats.
Is the chat taking care of you on this? Is this like that Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? He's sourcing.
If anybody in the chat does know, you automatically have to go take a fucking lap for knowing.
Sarah G said Posh B. Ah, Sarah G knew. Oh my goodness.
Go take a lap, Sarah. Well, actually, you're female. I guess, like, you know. If it was a dude that was like, no, the Spice Girls were definitely, yeah, lap and push-ups.
I remember when He-Man came out and the Flintstones were great. I used to like this one when I was a little kid where Fred Flintstone was like a super spy. It wasn't on for very long, I don't think, but there used to be like a Flintstone spinoff where Fred was a spy that was pretty cool.
Was that on Boomerang?
No, Boomerang didn't exist.
Cartoon Network?
About the 70s.
Were they selling vitamins?
I don't think the Flintstones vitamins till was probably the mid 80s ish. I don't remember.
Get your tickets to a live taping of the voice work for Fat Albert.
Sarah said she's just making things up. The best part about that is that none of us could fucking correct her. We all just bought it like, oh yeah, Posh B, but yeah, that sounds yeah.
So West End Girls. West End Girls.
Was that a song?
Yeah.
In the 80s? Yeah.
West End Girls. Huh? Yeah, musical tastes. I'm trying to dig him out of our guest chair, and he's been real tight-lipped about it.
He's tight-lipped about it. You got to hit him with some bluegrass. He looks like maybe he's got good taste, like some.
It's like I only listen to Screwdriver. I don't really want to talk
ever been
about
trampled by turtles?
You know, they got the cops called on me once.
The Turtles?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah, they came to my bar, and then the night before they were supposed to play, they decided they were going to do Hug a Hippie out on Main Street, and they got the cops called on me because they were walking around trying to hug people, and they got the cops called like, "The fuck are you doing? No, we don't do that here."
I mean, at least they didn't wreck the bar.
Actually, the hippies were always pretty decent. They really were on those nights. You'd find empty Visine bottles around, but that was about it.
And then you'd take the empty Visine bottles and sell them back to them. Fill them up. It's a good side hustle.
When they go to refill them. Yeah, them hippies, they had some real dry eyes.
Fill it with vinegar?
Figure it out.
Right.
What's in that saline solution? Is it just salt water?
It was mostly LSD. Mostly LSD.
They were putting LSD in their eyes?
Yeah.
That was like Clockwork Orange?
Yeah, only doing it to yourself without the
Instagram reel this morning, and it was Al Jorgensen from Ministry who said the first time that he met Maynard and the rest of the lads from Tool, it was at Lollapalooza in like 92. And they hadn't even put out their first fucking album yet. And they're chilling in the green room, hanging out, and Al offers them some of his whiskey, not remembering that before he went on stage for a while, especially in the late 80s, early 90s, he'd put a couple of hits of liquid in his whiskey
Guys,
before he went on, mellow him out a little bit, you know, and lift some of that anxiety. And so Al Jorgensen saying, I put a couple of hits in is like he'd fucking drop 15 to 20 in the bottle. Gave it a good little squeeze. And so the entire band is fucking tripping balls, had no idea what was happening, had no idea that they were about to do that, and went on a nice little ride at Lollapalooza for the next like 10 or so hours because, you know, they got fucking accidentally dosed by Ministry's bass player.
Oh boy.
And this is when they wrote Lateralis.
Right? Maynard was like, I have an idea. First, I'm going to go have a bunch of dudes inside me, and then I'm going to write this album.
The prison song?
Right? Fucking Stinkfist. Jesus, dude.
Hmm.
Half of Maynard's songs are about gay love. They just sound really, really fucking kick ass.
Guess I didn't read the lyrics close enough.
Right?
You're gonna have to wait a minute, Lisa. So it's heavy metal gayness. So it's badass. Yes, I caught. I'll be right back. Issa says it's time to put her to bed. Hold on.
Who was it? Somebody, I just saw a clip of this, got big mad. Somebody in the metal world because I think it was Big J Okerson brought up that Rob Halford was gay.
Was he?
And
in what way?
Stop.
For music?
Just stop. Just stop.
Does he like leather?
For sure. I mean, that was pretty pervasive in the community, not necessarily the gay community. See, the Venn diagram for the gay community and metalheads definitely includes an overlap for excessive use of leather. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Oh God, who was that?
Balderson's on a hot mic.
That's gonna bother me. He's always on a hot mic. He's Benji Hot Mike Balderson from the wilds of South Dakota.
So Jay Okerson said that Rob Halford
made a comment, and it was, you know, it was more along the lines of like,
who's Jay Okerson?
A comedian. He's a professional stand-up comic.
Okay. So he gets paid to talk about
podcast host. And this was on not his radio show, which is the Bonfire.
Okay.
On Sirius XM. Not that one. It was, I can't remember what, I don't know. Dude's on a lot of podcasts. He is. Legion of Skanks, Dave Smith and Louis J. Gomez, and he does Story Wars with Louis, which is hilarious, by the way. If you're ever bored in an hour and 20 minutes to kill, go watch a couple of episodes of Story Wars. That shit's fun. Very great, very good concept for like a live game show podcast thing. So it's Big J, and he made like a dick sucking comment about Rob Halford, and I can't remember the metalhead that they had on there. Maybe it might have been Sebastian Bach. I think that's who it was from Skid Row.
That man loves women.
Because,
by the way, Ricky should be out on parole by now, even with 18 to life. Ricky should be out on parole by now.
Just because every preteen girl thought he was awesome.
He was in the supergroup with Ted Nugent on the VH1 show, Supergroup.
Damn Yankees. Right? That was the group, right?
I think so.
You could be a naughty.
They couldn't use the word Chinese democracy. I think that was
Right.
already being used.
Right. Well, and Ted Nugent had some very, very patriotic issues against using that. He was ready to get down off his buffalo and straighten some people right out.
Okay, chat. Who were the other members of the VH1 show supergroup? We named Sebastian Bach and Ted Nugent.
Oh, is the other super group Ted was in? Says number 6.
I remember the third guy. I think his name was Evan something, and he
Let's
was
just look up Ted
dating
Nugent.
Tara Patrick,
You know,
who
laugh,
was an
stare
adult.
deep Spice again.
Because this would have been what 2004 or 5,
Well-
so we're about 20-year anniversary of the supergroup.
Were you
show?
talking about the VH1 show supergroup?
Yes, with Sebastian Bach.
Okay,
Ted
that was a
Nugent.
reality show, huh?
Yes, it was. It was
John
more real than real.
Bonamassa? Joe Bonamassa.
Could
Who
be.
the fuck is Joe Bonamassa?
He's a guitar like virtuoso dude. He's one of those dudes. He's incredibly talented. He really is. I'm not even trying to hate on him. He's just smug as fuck, and is one of those dudes who like every time he's getting interviewed or something like that, he'll casually bring up all of the famous people that he hangs out with, and like, oh, and then I bought my guitar receipt in first class next to me because I needed to make sure that it would arrive with me unscathed, and like it's just like, all right, dude, we get it. We
Who
get
did he
it.
play with?
Yeah, he's basically like a solo artist, but I don't know. Let's run down the career. I
It's
guess.
like gun for hire. He'll just play in any band.
Like they play with NSYNC and Backstreet Boys?
He might have recorded the background track for them to do a karaoke number too on live stage as they're singing and dancing.
He was a child prodigy opening for BB King at the age of 12.
Oh,
That's impressive.
Yeah.
so he's a 12-year-old who could reach his hands around the entire fret thing on the guitar. Did you say he played bass guitar or rhythm guitar? All the instruments.
The second time I was in Vegas and I didn't have any kids with me, I was going to go see BB King. I ended up getting drunk instead.
And then listening to him on the radio.
Tito Ortiz's in the casino that was all about Tito Ortiz.
He had a band called Bloodlines, and then has been a solo artist for the last 25 years. Yeah, but yeah, like straight up fucking virtuoso. But yeah, super. I guess if I was 8 years old and I was part of the opening band for BB King, and then I was opening up fucking like full time for him at 12, I would probably have a little attitude on me too. It'd be hard to shake that.
Scott Ian from Anthrax. Yes, he was in the supergroup with Sebastian Bach.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Okay.
Those guys who were on that VH1 show became huge celebrities to a new group of teenagers who would not.
Where is
know
Ashton
them.
Kutcher from, that cunt?
I had no idea that show even existed.
Sarah, did you put Posh B and then retract it? Now I'm dying to know. Because you know what? I couldn't have argued it either way.
Christy's gonna walk around the corner, and Ben's gonna have the Spice Girls website up.
It'd be like
It was
Posh
research, babe. I swear.
Like, I couldn't have told you if that was in a super fag group or something on VH1. Who the fuck watches VH1? Like, I'm not a 12-year-old girl. Well, I don't own a shirt like that.
I don't own it either. It's on a payment plan.
Yeah. Smart.
Haven't paid it off yet.
Smart.
Right.
Designer-
Dustin Diamond memorabilia is top dollar these days, man. Top dollar.
Designer clothing is not affordable. That's why it's designer clothing. It's by real designers and they have real budgets. Our wardrobe budget, we don't have one yet. We need to talk about that.
Yeah, mine's not near as fancy. I got a big old hole in my shoulder here.
Whoa, distressed T-shirt. Does it say dab on
I
it?
think there's it says a dab. It says a dab will do
That's
ya.
from the Kanye collection, and you can
It's Fred
get
Flintstone.
$300
Yabba
for
dabba
that
dooba.
t-shirt. 'Cause
Yeah,
I have
this is
a hole.
actually from the first 710 Cup, the year that cannabis went legal in Colorado. I went to the 710 Cup and I was one of the judges. I think there's probably a big ass hole in the back too somewhere. I'm constantly fucking doing dumb shit, crawling around in tight spaces, and then you catch a screw on your back, and then rip.
Chat is a great merchandise idea. Should we put a dab will do ya on a T-shirt and sell it back to ya? Would you buy a couple T-shirts that says a dab will do ya? Because Andrew Alderson says a dab will do ya.
I have a shirt that I'll make eventually one day. That'll be pretty cool.
Can we get it done by November?
We got some shirts planned out.
Okay.
Everybody likes the dang merch, but merch. Posh B is married to a soccer player or something. Oh yeah.
Beckham, right? Bend it
Yeah,
like Beckham.
the back to Beckham or made it by like Beckham or something.
Yeah, there are just so few people who are recognized. Yeah, we know Greta Thunberg. I mean, that's an honor. She's already famous.
My grandson likes soccer, actually. He's really good at it. Yeah, they just won some championship, and he got picked for specially to be on that team. He kicks with he's 12, and he kicks with 480 pounds of force. Yeah, they had one of those punch machines. And
heck yeah.
And it had a soccer arm that came out instead of punching, and he kicked it, and he had 480 pounds of force. I was like, dang.
Nice.
Wow.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it looked smooth when he did it too. Like he freaking railed that thing. I was like, woof. That's
Put him
impressive.
on an Olympic team.
Yeah, he's getting ready to do basketball now. The soccer season's over. That was the end of soccer season when they won that championship. He was fantastic at hockey, though, too. Fuck basketball. Who gives a shit about that dumb sport?
What? I love basketball.
Man,
We have a basketball fan.
compared to hockey?
No,
Compared to
I ain't taking
hockey?
nothing away from hockey. I'm just saying I love basketball too, though.
Playing
Like,
it.
if your son was going to play a sport and you're going to be like, yeah, that's manly. Like, that's some shit. Is it hockey?
There ain't
or
no
is it
pads in basketball. There ain't no pads in basketball. You know, that's a hard
That's because
school.
they don't get hit.
Yeah, that's exactly right. They don't get hit, but then when they do, they get hit.
Does Ohio have an NBA team?
Yeah, they got the Cleveland Cavaliers.
No, he said NBA. I'm fucking around. I'm fucking around.
And the worst part is I don't fucking know. Like, as this joke's going on, I'm like, I think Steve made a joke. Like,
And the real
I don't
Cavalier
really
about it.
know.
That's a real team name, Cavaliers. Isn't that appropriating someone?
You know,
I've never thought about it. It's a team up north.
Utah got some sports team, and I drove halfway through Utah.
Utah Jazz, right?
The what?
The Utah Jazz.
No, it's not the Jazz. I heard of them before. They got some other team, and the name is just atrocious. It's like the Utah Hockey League or something.
The Utah
And so I
Rockets.
spent like half of Utah going, wow, they're really into trying to build this hockey league. And then fucking find out that it's an actual team. And I was like, who picked that dumb name? It might not be
Mormons?
hockey league or something, but it's just as bad. It's a real dumb fucking name.
Or Mormons moving into sports now.
Dude, they got so much money.
They're buying sports teams.
Yeah, they're making them from whole cloth. I think this was an expansion.
Interesting. So you like basketball?
I like all sports. I mean,
Okay. Hey, you like fall sports?
hey, not all. Okay. Yeah. Right.
It's an inside joke, bro. You walked into an inside joke.
Next
No
question.
clue. I just walked into something like a big problem.
So there's this guy. There's this guy
Well,
that's
before you
like
explain
super
it, you gotta
gay.
ask him. Do you play all sports?
Hell no, I don't play all sports. I don't play any
You
sports.
play all
anymore.
sports
I
on
don't
a
play
traveling
any sports that
team.
y'all talking about. That's for sure.
So there's this super gay guy named Dylan Sicoccio, and he is just a fucking moron.
I don't think he's super.
Yeah, he's probably not super anything, right? And this guy, he writes some really piss poor books that nobody reads. And he did an interview on his books, and she's like, "Did you play sports?" And he's like, "Yes." And she's like, "Well, what sports do you play?" He goes, "All sports." and he's like, "And I was on the traveling team." And honestly, I had no clue what that was, but my wife is from a Ritchie area also. And so she explained to me what the traveling team thing was, at least. Like, they have like your normal school sports, but then they have little Ritchie ass kids that pay to go into these other leagues. And those leagues go like, because down there it's so much congestion of city. Like, if you've ever seen the LA complex, when you're driving like out of fucking over the mountain, you come up over this mountain, and all of a sudden it's nothing but city as far as you can see. You can literally see like 6 different skyscraper city centers that are major cities that you hear about on TV and stuff. It's just this giant, ugly, fucking cancerous just lesion on the earth of nothing but city. And freaking
It's tough, but it's fair.
And when I saw it, it wasn't quite the smog had cut down. They were like in the transition between having all the manufacturing and industry here move over into brown countries without a minimum wage. And so they still had the smog to a fairly decent degree at the time. And
no, LA's an abomination. It is. Freaking ugh. I'm 3 years. It's been 3 years since I've been to LA for any reason, and I'm stoked. It can stay. That can add back up as far as I've considered.
Dude, I've been there. One time I went there for a sesh, and holy shit balls! It was like Escape from LA. Only like it's just this way. Like, oh, this isn't. Did the Hollywood even set up, or did they just like start filming shit in these places? Like, this is a dystopian hell right now, right here. Like, holy shit. Well, definitely, Marcus, whatever you want to promote before we have to shut down here, before Steve gets his hot tamale spanking.
Yeah, I don't have too much. I really appreciate you guys letting me on, hang out for a while, and this is kind of like my first foray into any podcasting or being any part of any panel. So I really appreciate that opportunity. I respect you all very much. You keep on doing everything you're doing, and thanks for letting me just share my perspective. And that's actually what it's all supposed to be about. Just talking, getting along, laughing a little bit, and learning as we go. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I don't have anything to like promote or anything like that. I'm kind of, like I said, new into all this stuff, trying to figure it all out. So I'm good.
The good news or the bad news, depending on how you look at it, is you didn't dodge our request to debate, but we didn't really debate, so you don't get a debate dodger nickname. You're not a Yurt McGirt. You don't get to be a Yurt McGirt.
Well, hopefully he comes around and he or whatever. I'm not going to get into all that stuff. Yeah, I don't have too much to worry about, and yeah, I'm sure there might be some time if I ever come back in the future. It might get a little tougher, so I anticipate that.
No, absolutely. We'll have you back on. It was a pleasure talking to you, man. And we're not really doing the debate platform at this point. It turns out that apparently we are not the most debatable people on the planet.
That's debatable.
Yeah. People do not want to come fight with us. And so that was just not a winning way to go about it, apparently. I've been going around, and Steve started going around. Anybody that missed it last week, Steve jumped on Sarah Tomato's panel. I've been on Sarah Tomato's panel. And Steve did the verbal combat on that channel, but that was the night that I whipped the piss out of all the little ortho boys. Their little trainee Padawan orthos, and all the big orthos were going on about it for weeks. Jim Bob was even going on about it today because fucking I was just fucking with them, and I hit him with the Socratic. If your God is omnipotent, can he make a rock big enough that he can't lift it? And it's just, and it fucked them all up, and they're still butthurt about it. And they actually, Easy from Verbal Combat literally removed that show. It's not just put into members only or something. He made that fucker private, took it down. Like, I fucked them guys up. I let the whole group of them have at me for like 2 hours about Odinism, and then I lit them up. It was hilarious. I was laughing. I was doing the full Balderson, head back, fucking laughing my ass off. Oh, it was good shit. And they took it down. So that's part of why I'm on Easy's channel.
there's content that is still up. You're an interview with Beth Martins.
Yep. Oh yeah, I went on with Beth Martins this week. That was excellent. Beth's always excellent. She's trying to make a transition and just wanted to chit chat, and so we chit chatted. It was a very nice one. I'm in the works right now. I got a talk coming up with. I'm gonna probably go do a show with Crow 777. We're working out the details on it right now, and I've got inquiries in our reality coming up at the beginning of next month. I had it actually this month it was supposed to be, but I fucked up on the AM or on the time zone. And so it was like 2 hours. I showed up like 2 hours late and sat here wondering where he was. And
a wizard always appears on time. Is that what the quote is, Chad?
Yeah, exactly what he means to.
Yeah. I do have that Beth Martins interview uploaded as audio to the podcast feed. You can get that at alanmarcus.com/podcast or directly serve.podhome.fm, delivering dog face dudes. Just go to podcast app, type in delivering dog face dudes, and let us know if you can find us there. Keeping the archives of all the audio available for people on long road trips who just want to listen.
Yes, Marcus curates all that and takes care of it. Does a fantastic job. He is a computer wizard. These really cool ass little promos and shorts he's coming out with. I can't do nothing like that. That's part of why I think Marty Leeds attacked you, because everybody knows I can't do that shit. That wasn't me. So that's why he got all butthurt at you.
But he did open a can of whoop ass on himself. So there's that. If anything, go to the podcast feed to read the descriptions of the episodes. And if video is your preferred format, you can read the description, find the timestamps and the chapters on the Podhome.fm website. So that's sort of our way of getting around the censors on YouTube who might not like us if we explicitly spell out what we're talking about on their platform. I think we still kind of play that dance a little bit. to not
bit.
use the no words.
It's usually my fault.
Yeah.
I haven't been allowed on
Steve
YouTube
is
since
from
2019.
the Wild West, and we are trying to civilize him to the YouTube civilization. And so Steve likes to come in and play a lot of things that shouldn't be played and whatnot, and then get me dinged. Like when I don't know how many hours it's going to take me, whether I'm going to have to remove a bunch of episodes or excise parts out of them. When we go to let it so people can have memberships and super chats and whatnot, but I'm going to sit there and cuss Steve's name the whole time that I'm doing it.
If some of those old episodes and
Steve.
streams and things disappear, they'll be made available in audio form on the archive. Deliberating Dogface Dudes. I just explained where to find it. We'll get that stuff back up to you, available. And you've said the goal is to get the Benjamin Balderson YouTube channel views increase, likes increase, engagement increase, comments increase, all that stuff help. So the debate bros will take us serious, more serious than they
I don't think I don't honestly think that's the problem. They debate much smaller people than my channel and much less known people. That is not it at all. And actually, if you go back, so last year was when Andrew Wilson agreed to debate. Last October, if you watch the end of the season of whatever, because my wife watches that show, I get home and she's like, you got to watch this. We sit down and fucking Andrew Wilson starts explaining, because, you know, there's always those pagan girls that are like, oh, pagans, they had Loki and we can all be gay and do whatever we want. You know, and Andrew Wilson's like, no, that ain't right. That's not how they live. And you could tell the dude was nailing out very specific things.
Researching your worldview.
Yeah, and you could absolutely tell. And then all of a sudden he blanks me. And fucking Jay Dyer picks the little baby bitch fight with Steve, and they blank us. And Jim Bob, we never had an issue, but he won't set a date for nothing. Like, we've emailed each other like 30 times at least, and he won't set a date. For
that dude Rob's the same way.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's something weird going on with and like I said, the one show that I did go debate with some ortho bros, the little trainee ortho bros, I went in there and smashed them. They took that episode down, and Steve happened to show up. Like, I left, I didn't even know Steve was showing up because I was in such a heater with them guys, and I leave, and then Steve shows up. I had to go back and watch that the next day. I was like, shit, I'd already been having it out with those guys by myself for like 3.5 hours.
That was a rough Friday night for them. Certainly.
Yeah, it was. You have it recorded?
You know, VHS somewhere in a vault. You know, Disney does that thing where they put things in the vault and they take them out. I don't know. We might have to try and recreate it somehow. No, I can't make any guarantees on anything. Don't know.
So I just dropped a link in the chat to the documentary that we'll be screening tomorrow on AM Wake Up that my co-host tomorrow, T. Snyder, shot and edited over the course of many months. He started filming in February, some of it in Anarchapulco, the stuff with Charlie Robinson.
Beth Martins was there.
What's that?
Beth Martins was there.
Well, down in Mexico. Yeah. Cool. I would love to go one day. And like a third of it was shot at the Third Eye Carnival that we threw in Portland, Tennessee, outside of Nashville. A lot of good footage of that, and then some of it was shot down around Franklin, Tennessee, at the Last American Vagabond Studios with Ryan, and it's really cool. Go check it out.
So that's going to premiere tomorrow morning on the Rumble.
Well, I mean, you can watch it on your own time, but we're going to screen it during the show. He released it, I think, Saturday.
Oh, okay.
Maybe.
What's the run time on that?
Like 14 minutes, 15 minutes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. They're all like mini documentaries. He's done. What if you go to conspiracysynergy.com? They're all there. They're all free. But he did one on the lads from Grimerica, Graham and Darren. He did one on Hervoye Morik from Geopolitics and Empire. And stayed on Hervoye's couch in Guadalajara for like 3 weeks or something like that.
Real couch surfer.
Going back and forth between Anarchapulco and Derek Brose's People's Reset, and did a documentary on Derek Brose, mini doc on Derek Brose as well. So he's basically like working his way through independent media, just trying to do a series of these, 12 to 15 minute, just sort of mini docs to in some way encapsulate like what media outside of the bullshit is. And I can't recommend them enough. So if you guys are just now hearing this for the first time, you need to start watching AM Wake Up. That's Monday through Thursday, 7 to 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 10 to 1 on the East Coast.
What happens if I watch on Friday morning?
Then you will see the Independent Review, which is a collection of clips from around the independent media that's curated by my friend Ryan Graham, who also owns the merch shop that makes this and the rest of the stuff, which is really freaking cool. And you should get some.
I should get some. This is probably going to go back into
the Screech collection. You may need to go put a little color on your skin there a little bit. May need to
check
hang
the white
out.
balance.
Yeah, you're gonna have to go put that in a nice one of them bags that you can vacuum and take all the air out of, so you don't want the screech smell to.
Should I add silica packets and mothballs too?
Yeah, probably some silica packs, not mothballs though.
Okay.
And then get the vacuum one and then put it in a dark place, dark and cool.
And then just go onto one of those, upscale resale online clothing, sell your own shit spots.
Like a Depop.
Yeah, go get $800 for that Dust and Diamond special. Tell them it smells like the AMAs.
A Diamondbacks baseball team? Anybody?
No. That's not what I'm referring to.
We're going to start a baseball podcast, I think, next. Sports.
Right.
All sports podcast.
An all sports podcast.
Where sports experts explain to us what sports are and what the rules are.
And what kind of sports balling are you famous for?
Yeah, good point.
Right?
Good point.
Right? How many? Al Bundy got 4 touchdowns in one game for Polk High. How many touchdowns did you get? Like, I play baseball. How many touchdowns are there in baseball?
It's a team
sport. That would be great if you could actually get professional athletes on a show where the host could fucking just straight man through trolling the fuck out of them like he had no idea what sports were at all.
Set me up. I will talk to any athlete you throw at me.
Dude, like that show that Zach Galifianakis had, that Between Two Ferns.
Kind of, yeah.
Between two balls?
Yeah, between two balls.
Get Aaron Rodgers on there and only ask him like science-related questions and vaccine questions.
Aaron, is she a professional sports?
Ask him about DMT entities. Don't ask him a single fucking sports question.
Her name's Aaron?
What are you famous for, by the way?
Right? I'm sorry. What kind of sports ball do you do?
Are there sports that don't involve balls?
Are you good at it?
Right. What's your preferred method of sportsing?
Do you ever try esports? Do you like StarCraft?
Who's your favorite Madden character?
What's your kill death ratio in Fortnite?
I gotta get out of here.
You gotta kick us out of here. That's what we gotta do.
Love you guys. I did get an answer back from Dell.
The funky Homo sapien?
The farmer?
He's Rising Earth kind of thing, I think is what but basically
is that a white reggae band?
See a computer expert?
Yeah. They all have dreads and smell like patchouli.
All right. Do they wear white robes and hover 2 inches above the ground?
Should our merch smell like patchouli when we send it out?
Absolutely.
No.
That's not a good thing. I thought patchouli was a upscale good thing.
That's a no. I'm going to need you to find the nearest newspaper, roll it up, and give yourself a good thumping.
No,
Yeah.
No.
patchouli. Are we not doing potpourri either?
That's correct.
Got a lot of that sitting around somewhere. Got to get rid of it somehow.
I mean, we do have some. It's like I prefer like sour D. That one's that's a nice potpourri. That one's got
Sawdust and underboob sweat. That's the only sense that you're working with.
My wife does love it when I go out and chainsaw. She calls it my man glitter. She
Good
gets
night,
all
Rumble. Good night, YouTube. Good night, chatters.
She likes the smell.
We'll see you next week. Thanks a lot, Marcus.
Yep.
You're
We'll see
welcome.
you
Wait.
next
It's
week.
good meeting you, Marcus.
Thank
All right.
you.
Everybody.
Both of
I think
you.
we know each other. Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
All right.